Hello, hello. Can you hear me? I think we're rock and rolling. I think we are rock and rolling on the best day of the year. Yes, full British bias in effect, guys. How is everyone? Hope your Sunday's been treating you well. Mic check, mic check. 1 2 1 2. Hello, hello. Good to see you all. I've seen you all chatting. I see you all. I've been lurking in my own stream, in my own chat, to see you all discussing who's going to win today. Of course, it is going to be, I think, an absolute cracker of a race. The British Grand Prix at Silverstone is always a cracker. And yes, well, with the weather conditions, which of course we will run through and have a look at. It's going to be more important really than the strategy options today, even though we'll still have a look at them and see what tyres are available. It's more so that is what is relevant than the actual and anything else, to be honest with you. But no Ferrari shirt today. No, it is in the wash. It is in the wash. So it's probably a good omen for Ferrari and for Lewis Hamilton that I have left that. I've chucked that in the wash. Is the inside line... is the inside line at the start P1 or P2? The inside line is P2, down into the first corner. However, you're on the dirtier side. You're not on the clean side of the racetrack. Not that it really matters at the moment because, of course, the weather conditions. It has been raining. If you've watched any of the junior formulas this morning, you would have seen that they have been. The F3 race was postponed, or it was ended prematurely because of the weather conditions, and then F2 that was able to go to the end, but it was a race that started wet, dried out, some went to slicks. And then it rained again at the end, and there was some drivers who had issues who went to those slick tyres. So, but I'm very well, thank you, 23. Good to see you. Welcome, everyone. Good to see some regular faces, as always. And those of you who are always tuning in and you're lurking and you're just enjoying these streams, big thank you. Of course, we are fast approaching. We are fast approaching that 50K. Ooh, getting ever closer. It's going to happen today, guys. It's going to happen. So, yes, really looking forward to that. Looking forward to bringing you another amazing stream. And, yes, hopefully the race really provides for us. But, yes, doing well, thank you. Doing very well. Hello, hello. I misspelled Verstappen on the poll, did I? I did misspell Verstappen. I also noticed I went Hamilton/Hamilton. But that was not my intention. My intention there was to go Hamilton/Leclerc because they're 5th and 6th. I only have 4 options when it comes to running a poll on YouTube. So unfortunately, yes, that was what I was limited to. But yes, I do think I'm sticking by it. Jarvis, welcome to the pit crew, buddy. Welcome, welcome. Much appreciated. Oh, another member of the ever-increasing pit crew. I do have some gifted to give to you guys as well, which we'll do shortly. But welcome, yes, brilliant. If you want to support this channel further, yes, you can join as a member. And of course, the big important thing is hitting that 50K this week today. So yeah, big thank you. But what I was going to say, I still think my predictions, guys, my prediction is still that I don't think either Oscar Piastri or Max Verstappen will win this race. I think the winner of this race is going to come from outside of the top 2. Silverstone is a very unique circuit where being on pole position isn't the be-all and end-all. It is a circuit where you can overtake. It is a circuit where strategy truly matters, especially with these potential changeable conditions that we're going to see today. So, no Ferrari gear today. No, it's in the wash. It's in the wash. Good to see you, Dan. Welcome, welcome. Definitely getting 50K this stream. Well, yeah. Well, regardless, I'm still going to be focusing not on that number. I'm going to be focusing on providing you guys the commentary that you all so love. And then, of course, we'll be sticking around at the end to have a look and take in everything that has happened in this race. And I'm on the Mr. Apex podcast this evening as well, guys. So you can go and check that out to get my further insights and have some debates with, of course, the panel there. Did a live show last night in Milton Keynes, which was brilliant. More nerve-wracking doing a live show in front of 50 people, 60 people than it was to thousands of you on stream. So, yeah. That's something, but really enjoyable nonetheless, and great to see listeners of the Missed Apex podcast. So maybe a Stuffeyy a Stuffeyy community meetup one day. We'll see in the future as this channel is growing amazingly. You think that the winner will be someone from top 3 or there will be a crash, Yuki? Ooh, I mean, yeah, I think we will see a safety car today. I think we will. There's going to be a lot of, I mean, like we saw in F2, that moment, who's going to go onto the slick tyre first? Now, I may be giving it away here, but yes, it is primarily going to be, I think, at the moment, looking at the conditions, it is going to be a intermediate race start, so on the intermediate tyres. So strategy-wise, that does throw things a little bit out of sync. But yeah, is Nightbot alive? Mike, it is indeed. Yes, Mike. Nightbot is alive. Yes, he should be. He should be in full swing at the moment. Let me just make sure everything's okay. Of course, it's going to be a busy day today. So big thank you to the mods, as always, for keeping the chat a nice and respectful place to be. Yep, he is working overtime. He's on shift at the moment. He's clocked in. That's where the McLaren will be screwed at the first stop, you think, Red? Well, this is it, isn't it? It's an intriguing one today because, of course, Max Verstappen, we know what a great lap that was yesterday. He has gone for a different setup approach compared to everyone else, the more medium, high, lower downforce setup compared to the McLarens and the Ferraris. And, well, that showed evidently in the top speeds and the actual speed he could take through some of these corners. But that is going to leave him at a disadvantage when it comes to the wet weather conditions today, because while Max is brilliant in wet weather conditions, he is still limited to the machinery and the setup underneath him. And you do not want a low downforce setup when it comes to wet weather conditions. It was a gamble, personally, worth taking for Red Bull because they got track position, they're on pole. And who knows if the rain would have came in today, but it has arrived. And it could be very tricky in the first early stage. It could be a tricky race for Max Verstappen today if this race stays dry. It stays wet. If it gets dry, then we could see a very strong Max Verstappen. It could be kind of maybe a race of two halves for Max Verstappen. We will see. But so many different permutations that can happen in this race today, and I'm thoroughly looking forward to it. There's a bunch of standing water around the track. Yep, there is indeed. Silverstone doesn't exactly drain very well. It's quite... There is slight... what's the right word? Altitude changes at the Silverstone circuit, but not a lot. It's relatively flat. So yeah, there's not really many areas for the rain to disappear to. But at the moment, I think it has been dry. But there is rain in the air. We'll have a look at that all-important weather report when it occurs, when it is available to us nearer the race. So. Is it raining heavily? It's not raining at the moment from what I could see on the TV coverage. I'll keep you guys updated on that, though, for sure. Do I agree that everyone has greats and not greatest because it's hard to crown someone as the best with different regular... Yeah, we've had this discussion before, Mages. I think you can go greatest of all time era. Everyone will have their own opinion of who they value to be, of course, the greatest of all time. But ultimately, this is an ever-changing sport, and not many drivers are able... I mean, Senna and so forth. I wasn't alive to watch Senna, so I don't really comment on him, because I wasn't around when he was at his pomp. And Hamilton, for me, of course, he's kind of my greatest of all time because I watched him growing up. Schumacher as well was also in that realm because I watched Michael Schumacher. I think you have to go greatest of all time in eras, and that's the same for any sport, to be honest with you, because every sport changes so much and develops so much over the course of over the years. So style of play, etc., and that. Like, soccer, football is not it's not the same now as what it was back in the 80s and 90s or even the 2000s. So Messi, Felix, thank you for the joining the pit crew, buddy. Another member to the pit crew. Welcome. Thank you, everyone. This era is Lewis Hamilton, in your opinion? Yeah, that's fair. I mean, look, everyone has their own opinions in relation to who they think is the greatest of all time in their era. Arguably, Max Verstappen is setting his stall out for this era, of course, and many do believe that. Lewis Hamilton, of course, is at the end of his career. We've mentioned this plenty of times before. He is not in the peak of his career. He's a 40-year-old man. No sportsman is in the peak of their career at 40 years old, unless maybe you're a darts player or something. But, yeah, he is at the end of his career. Max Verstappen is in the peak of his career. So that's why this era is his era. Lewis Hamilton's era was 10 years ago and in the last 15 years. So, Yeah. They need to install drains like Jeddah and Yas Marina. Even all the runoff sand has turned to mud. Yeah, it is. I mean, do they really? I don't know. It's kind of the uniqueness of Silverstone, isn't it? Is the fact that there is, of course, the way that this track can play out, how a dry line truly starts to show through. But yeah, Silverstone has always provided us great races, whether it's in the dry, whether it's in the wet, whether it's in changeable conditions. I think that's what we may see today. And of course, we'll get to having a look at the strategy options and having a look at the weather report and that all-important weather conditions as well. And the pit stop loss time, which could be influential here today, because we could most likely see with these conditions, safety cars, virtual safety cars, etc., which we have seen in the junior formulas. Etienne, 50k today? Yeah, hopefully. Big thank you, everyone, for tuning in, as always. I've already seen the numbers shoot up at the top right-hand corner of my screen. We will be very shortly jumping to the live timing data and the track map for these drivers on their sighting laps. Remember, the last time we had wet weather conditions to start a race was Miami. And what happened there? We lost Charles Leclerc before the race even started. So it's going to be interesting to see how the drivers fare on their sighting laps and just... hopefully, they all make it round without incidents, but you just never know. But yes, Ollie Behrman, what can he do today? I saw a comment there just on Ollie Behrman. We'll keep an eye on him. Miss, you said, let's not rule out some magic from Ollie today. He showed up big in quali. Yeah, I think still, he's starting from 18th. I still think he has got a good enough car and enough confidence underneath him to score points today. It's a bold claim, but I really do. And Haas have been quite good with their strategy decisions recently. So I think he's going to beat his teammate, who starts 4 positions ahead of him. But we will see. We will see. Expecting full wets or only inters? I think only inters. It doesn't look to be wet enough for wets at the moment. And the problem is that we very rarely see the wet tyre used, because where the track is wet enough for that tyre to be used, it throws off too much spray anyway, and the conditions are just not suitable to the FIA standards. Not because the drivers can't drive in it, it's because purely of visibility issues, health and safety concerns. Not for aquaplaning, not for the fact that these drivers aren't capable of driving in those conditions. It's just the fact that the visibility is so poor, and that's why we normally get the wet tyre not used at all anymore. We saw it so often, or more often than not, back in the days when the cars were a lot smaller and they weren't ground effect era cars. They threw off less spray. Still threw off, obviously, a considerable amount of spray, but they were able to race there because the visibility wasn't so poor, whereas now these cars are heavier. They are wider, longer, the longest and heaviest and widest in history, and they create the majority of their downforce from the underside of the car. So they are stirring up so much more of that standing water than they ever have done in F1 history. So the wet tyre gets free flying miles every year. Wet tyre is useless, no point F1 having it. I think cars should have wheel guards for wet conditions to reduce brake. Well, they did try that, Red. I appreciate the sentiment there. They did try that last year. There are some images of that online, and it still didn't reduce the spray. It reduced it very minimal amounts. They looked absolutely horrendous, and yeah, they didn't work. So it's just, you need to change the overall regulations, really, for the wet tyres to be more suitable now, and for the FIA to be a bit braver and more comfortable in full wet conditions being raced in. Oh, Jesus, why is that not working? Just bear with me, guys. Just bear with me for a second. Sorting something out here with my TV coverage, which is not going to plan. Do I think Hamilton will keep his podium streak here, Cadence? I do. Yes, I mean, if my prediction is correct, the top two are not winning this race today. And the win comes from somewhere outside. Now, is that Hamilton? I don't know. But I do think Hamilton at Silverstone, it's a track that he knows better than anywhere else in the world. He's in a car which is good here this weekend. It's good. And we'll see how he fares. This race is a complete unknown, but I don't think this race is going to be as straightforward as what we've seen from many of the races this year. So, yeah, it's a track where you can overtake. It's a track where, obviously, we've got changeable conditions. Different setups are being utilised from the teams. Max Verstappen said it very well. He said, we've got a more lower downforce setup, so we're more geared for, obviously, the high-speed corners and maximising top speed. That's great for dry conditions, but not so good for the conditions we've got now in wet weather. The McLaren, the Ferraris are more geared towards utilising the cornering speed, and they're a bit slower on the top speed on the straights. And then McLaren are somewhere in between, the two of them. So very, very interesting circumstances here and approaches from all those teams, and that's why qualifying was so close yesterday. And it was only really, it could have been even closer. It was only because those drivers, I think Lando, Piastri, Hamilton and Leclerc all had moments. They all had little wiggles through the last couple of corners. If it wasn't for that, they would have been so much closer. I still think Max would have got pole. I don't think anyone would have beaten that time, but I think you would have seen the spread between the top six be less than probably, or around a tenth, maybe even less than that. That's how close it was yesterday. Norris to win, you reckon, Callum? Piastri P2, you think Red Bull balls it up? We'll see if the gamble's paid off. The gamble was worth taking for Max Verstappen. This is the thing. That car on Friday was not good enough. Simple as. It was a car that was going to struggle to qualify in the top 5. They've taken more wing out of the car to try and find more balance. Yes, it's not necessarily a setup that's going to be suited to wet weather conditions, but you have to take the gamble and weigh the percentages up that if they stuck with how the car was on Friday, they were not going to be top 5 regardless. They definitely was not going to be anywhere near pole position. And, well, look where they are now. They're on pole position. You'd rather be Max Verstappen in starting pole position now and having to deal with the cars behind and try and hold on to that, then try and gain those positions in a car that you're not comfortable in, that would barely maybe qualify in the top 5. So, will Colapinto crash Max out again? Colapinto down in 20th place, so he's starting today. I'm not sure if he's starting from the pit lane though. We'll keep an eye out on that. I haven't seen any indication that that is the case, but yeah. No, there was rain in Australia. There was rain in Australia, yep. But different setup approaches this time around. Different circuit as well, Silverstone. The cars are very different now compared to when they were at the start of the season. So, yeah, lots of differences compared to what happened at the start. The season has progressed dramatically since then, so... Sorry, just getting something from the missus there. I'm your favourite content creator. Just watching it makes my days. Get so excited race mornings every time. Thank you, Bono. I mean, I get excited. I feel a little bit down sometimes when there's not race weekends on. And yeah, because I absolutely love providing these for you, and I love talking about F1. Absolutely love it. So. It's dry now. It's dry. I'm watching the TV coverage. Umbrellas have been put away. It is dry at Silverstone at the moment, but the track is greasy. It is slippery. Will we get more rain? It's still 40 minutes until the formation lap gets underway. Let's see how that fares, shall we? Let's see. But at the moment, it is currently dry, from what I'm seeing. Probably into start. We will see. They'll probably go out there on Inters to do their sighting laps, as they are about to do. So let's change scene. There we go. There we go. So drivers making their way to the end of the pit lane, waiting for pit exit to open so that they can go out there and have a look at the track and make their way round to their starting positions on the grid. So let's see if there's any shenanigans here on these opening sighting laps. Hopefully not. And because we want everyone to start, but never say never. Like we saw, of course, Charles Leclerc put it in the wall and the barriers when it came to Miami earlier on in the season. Do I think Norris, Piastri and Verstappen will crash into each other in this race? No, but I think it will be close. I mean, look, this is a track, especially the first couple of corners. So not necessarily turn 1 and turn 2, but going into turn 3 and turn 4 and even turn 6, there's a short... Basically, you have a wide open track that then narrows as you go through those tight corners. And, it could be very, very easy for drivers to lose control of their car, especially on cold tyres, full fuel, cold brakes. It could be very interesting to start this race. But hopefully, this race gets underway when it's supposed to. That's the main thing. No, the race is not starting already, Aldi. This is just the sighting laps, as you can see there from the big text in the middle of the screen. So what the drivers do, this is what they... You don't always necessarily see this on TV coverage or on any other live streams. So basically, they leave their garages and they are making their way round the track to the grid, the starting grid. They may do 1 or 2 laps to get a feel of the track, make sure the car is all operating correctly. So they'll make their way through the pit lane if they do so, and then yes, the drivers will park up on the grid in their starting positions, and then that's where we see like the grid walk occur and so forth. But watching it at the moment, and yes, everyone is on intermediate tyres. So no one on slicks. Everyone out there on intermediate tyres. We don't get that information available to us on the timing tower, as you can see at the moment. But I'm watching the TV coverage, and I can see the green wall tyres of the intermediates on every car that is leaving the pit lane at the moment. So there is no point risking putting on slick tyres at the moment to see how they fare and damage your car before the race even gets started. But yeah, it has not long ago stopped raining, so the track is most definitely still very slick out there, and as drivers are leaving the pit lane and doing some practice starts. But yeah, we will see. There is more rain predicted. We will have a look at that weather report once these sighting laps have been conducted, and as well as the potential strategy options today, which... Now a little bit defunct because we don't have dry conditions to start this race, but the tyre allocations will still be important if this track does dry up throughout. From the track, light rain has started again, James. Ooh, there we go. There we go. You want to be bold and pray for a Stroll top 5. We could see a very topsy-turvy race just like what we saw in Australia. We could see something like that. So, is a tyre change compulsory? Yes, it is, yes. So you still have to, even when you start on wet tyres, you still have to change tyres. You can't go the whole duration, I believe. So, yes, you still have to... You don't have to use the same... You don't have to use a different compound, but you have to change tyres. And I think even then it's not possible to go the full distance. Of course, we saw something like... You can, obviously, if the track dries out, turn those intermediate tyres into slick tyres like we saw Lewis Hamilton do in Istanbul those years ago at Turkey. But yes, I think that rule is still in place. But you have to make a mandatory pit stop or a mandatory tyre change, even if you start on the wet tyres. I'm sure there's a provision there in the regulations somewhere. If Stroll wins, and I don't know what you'll do. Don't worry, you won't have to worry about Lance Stroll winning. Hey, Christina from the Netherlands, success with the broadcast. Started to follow when I had 50 subscribers. Did you? What, when I had 50? Oh my goodness, that is a long time ago. Look where we are now. We're about to hit 50000. Oh, and thank you for the lovely words about my daughter as well. Yeah, no, she's amazing. She's currently asleep at the moment, having her afternoon nap. Is Stroll still injured, or is his wrist healed enough? I don't know, to be completely honest with you. Probably not. Probably not. I still think that there's no way those wrists have healed if you have operations on them. There's no way that you're probably suitable to drive an F1 car in that short amount of a time. But look, he's probably got access to much better healthcare professionals than us average folk do. So, morning, Taco. Good to see you, mates. If it pours, I could see a world where top 3 in the championship on the podium. I agree, Sid. I genuinely think that I don't think the win is going to come from the top 2. That's just my opinion. It's not British bias or anything. I just think that this is going to be a bit of a chaotic race. And I think as I'm watching a replay of George Russell just having a couple of corrections with the intermediate tyres that he has on there. No one has made their way round to their starting grid at the moment, their grid slot. So drivers trying to get as good of a feel of the track at the moment to ascertain the conditions, ascertain where the grip is, of course, on that opening lap for them, where they want to position their cars, if they get a good start, etc., etc. I think Isaac Hadjar, Bortoletto, is he the first driver? No, they're all making their way round through the pit lane, so they're all doing multiple laps here. It's not often that you see this, but maybe they've also been instructed to do so, you never know, by the FIA to do this amount of laps to try and, of course, spread some of that standing water that is out on circuit. But yes, it is starting to rain a bit more again, as Norris is asked, how are the conditions? Yeah, they're okay, definitely Inter's just pretty slippery. That's what Lando Norris has reported. So drivers, of course, having to be careful. But as Ocon is told, we're expecting heavier rain in 5 minutes' time. 5 minutes' time, heavier rain, as it is currently 25 minutes past the hour. So half an hour mark, half an hour before the race begins, we are expecting heavier rain. Drivers having a little moments, just little moments out there, trying to figure out where the grip is at this slippery Silverstone circuit. As I'm watching Lando Norris, where did Lando come from there? No, that's okay, where he went. But yeah, drivers having little corrections here and there as they're heading into the braking zones of a number of these corners. But yes, none of them made their way to their grid stops yet. That's interesting. Charles Leclerc coming into the pit lane or going to the starting grid? No. Wow, this is like the third, fourth lap that we're seeing from these drivers. That's interesting. We don't often get this. Don't often get that. Good day, Nero. Good to see you. Good to see you. Who do I think will make it on the podium, Borna? Hard to tell. I do think Russell will drop off. I really do. I think we'll see a Ferrari on the podium. I don't know which Ferrari it will be, but I do think we'll see a Ferrari on the podium. I do think Norris will beat Piastri today. I really do. And I've got a suspicion that while Max is very good in the rain, I just think with that setup, I'm just going with logic here, with that lower downforce setup in these wet conditions, I just don't think Max is going to fare well in this first stage of the race by any means. As the track is, as the cameras are showcasing, it's very wet out there at the moment, as there is indeed heavy rain pouring down on the poor fans at Silverstone at the moment. Those poor fans who have spent all that money. I don't feel sorry for them, to be honest with you. I'd much rather be here in the comfort of my living room, providing you this watch-along at the moment. So yes, they are getting absolutely rained on at the moment. As drivers, there we go, have now started to make their way to their grid slots there, with Carlos Sainz and Kimi Antonelli there, with George Russell also following suit. So drivers, yes, starting to make their way to their grid slots here. Seems to be no incidents for these drivers on these laps, but some of them doing more laps than others to try and get a feel of the car. So I think Colapinto is starting from the pit lane. You can see there he's in the pit, so starting dead last. Had that crash yesterday, of course, that caused damage and removed him from Q1. He is starting from the pit lane today. So yeah, might as well make changes to that car, to that setup, and brake park Ferme, because he would have been starting dead last anyway. What's happened to Angela Cullen? Not seen her in the pits for some time. She's back with Lewis, Tom. She's back with Lewis. Yeah, she had I think she had a sabbatical with Mercedes, or maybe people have kind of assumed that maybe there was a bit of a falling out with Mercedes. But yeah, she left, obviously, for a couple of years, didn't she? And now she's back with Lewis. So first few laps are definitely going to be action-packed. 100% they are. 100%. Lewis is which position? He's starting 5th today. Yeah, he's starting 5th. Of course, errors in the last corner for both, last couple of corners for Hamilton and Charles Leclerc, having little moments and corrections. I think Charles Leclerc, actually, overall, his lap was slower than that of everyone ahead of him. Like, there was no sector where it looked like Charles was ever going to be on pole position in that last run. Of course, very frustrated with himself. If you've heard the radio messages, lots of sweary words from Charles Leclerc, banging his steering wheel as he crossed the finish line yesterday. But yes, Hamilton definitely looked to be on minimum front row, but that last sector cost him. George Russell, on the flip side, had an unbelievable last sector, fastest out of everyone out there to get into P4, only just behind Lando Norris, and I think he was hundredths of a seconds away from beating Piastri to get on the front row. That would have been unbelievable. Leclerc was proper Andrew Foster. Yeah, he was, yeah. But drivers making their way round to their grid slots. So I think that's pretty much it. Nothing to worry about here. Drivers have done very well to not have any incidents, but lots of little moments. Drivers having corrections into corners, which could be a sign to come in the first few laps of this race, or the first stages of this race, as rain has started to come down again in the Silverstone circuit. You can see there, the top right-hand corner, rain. Yes. Yes, big fat yes at the moment. So let's go. Let's change scene and let's set up and have a look at the now totally irrelevant strategy options for today, but see what tyre allocations drivers have, what they can utilise. Have a look at the race pace that F1 has suggested to us from the data gathered in the practice sessions, and of course that all-important weather radar and report. What can we expect for this race? There we go. Pit exit has been closed. We just got confirmation of there. Just grabbing the strategy options for you. And it's a real shame because it would have been an interesting race even if it was in dry conditions. But thank you, everyone, for subscribing to this channel, by the way. Neon, you have shared my channel link in group chats with more than 300, 400 people. Oh, thank you, buddy. Much appreciated. I mean, look, word of mouth, the YouTube algorithm is brilliant, of course. It has done, you guys have done wonders in YouTube, suggesting this page, this channel, these live streams to others, which is absolutely great. But of course, word of mouth as well is so important. Spread the love, spread the love. That's what I do with channels that I like. And I suggest you guys, if you can do the same, it massively helps. But right, let's have a look at the weather reports and the strategy options for today. Here we are. Here we are. So, this is now irrelevant. This is now totally irrelevant. However, look at the options that there were for this race today if it was completely dry. We had the one stopper, we had the two stopper, and I mean, so many different permutations there, but that is not going to be the case now, of course, because it is wet weather conditions out there at the moment. The rain has started to pour again. We've just seen the drivers do their sighting laps on the intermediates. We do have the C2, C3, and C4, and well, the most important thing here is when is there going to be a transition? Do we get a transition to dry conditions? And if so, what tyres do they decide to go on? Because warming up the tyres is going to be very intriguing here. Do they go to the hard compound tyre and try and take it to the end? A lot is going to be dependent on the weather radar and whether or not they're going to get more rain coming in, because it will be more beneficial to go to a soft for a short period of time, utilise the extra pace that you've got, or the mediums. It's really going to be an interesting race today. But yes, we're going to have a look at the tyres that they have left, Foster. That's more what's relevant, as you can see here. And well, the top 8 drivers there, you can see, I'm including Sonoda in that, even though he's qualified P12. You can see Piastri, they all have the same tyres available. So really, there's not too much in variety when it comes to their options. The medium compound tyre will probably be used, I presume, if we do go to dryers first, and then maybe the hard, I don't know, or maybe it'll be the hard to the end. But the warm up on that transition, if the people go to the hard tyre first, that warm up is going to be very tricky, and it's going to be very treacherous to get the temperature into that hard compound tyre. And you're going to lose a lot of time on the first good few laps for sure until it comes into the right window. It's going to be very treacherous, but yeah, it's going to be an intriguing one. Makes it interesting for us viewers, doesn't it? Is it pissing down or mild? It is tipping it down, I believe. It is tipping it down. I'm just watching TV coverage. There was a replay of, of an interview with Lewis Hamilton. It was raining then, but yes, live images that I saw, it was massively tipping it down. Massively tipping it down. You want Lando to crash more than Hamilton to win? Ooh. Did the race start? Not yet. No, the race starts. Apologies. Why have I not got that up there? There you go. It's my mistake. There we go. Race starts in 26 minutes' time. Apologies there, guys. Do I think Piastri will be double careful after what happened at Australia? I think he won't even be thinking about Australia for sure. His main aim today is to beat his teammates. So they're in a... McLaren are kind of in a different race of their own, to be honest with you. Of course, Lando will be thinking about wanting to win the British Grand Prix. He'll be wanting to maximise the amount of points that he can, 25, compared to maybe his teammate who finishes second, like we saw in Austria, and reduce that deficit another 7 points to 8 points rather than 15 as it currently stands. But ultimately, Piastri, the long game here, we still know McLaren is the quickest car. It is the car to beat. Max is 61 points behind at the moment in the championship. Even if Max wins today, he's only at best, well, I say at best, minimum, I guess, 7 points if Oscar finishes second as it stands. He's going to get 25 points maximum he's still going to be over a race win behind Oscar Piastri in P1. So, yeah, long way to go for Max. Really, he's just focusing of trying to take each race as it comes. Never say never, of course, but the realistic thing is that Max is out of this championship. But for Piastri and Norris, it's about finishing ahead of your teammate to try and increase your advantage at the top of the standings or decrease it, whichever position you're in Piastri and Norris's sense. But yeah, not too much variety really when it comes to the dry tyres that they've got available to them. Race pace wise, this is what F1 have predicted. Well, McLaren unsurprisingly fastest, Red Bull second fastest. That's primarily due to what they found on the Friday, the pace there, but this is dry conditions, not wet conditions. Interesting that they think Mercedes have got better race pace than Ferrari. That's very intriguing. We'll see if that is the case. Alpine, a full second off the pace, by the way. Unbelievable there. Haas, maybe that's Esteban Ocon who has let down the team there, because Ollie Behrman has definitely been very quick here this weekend in relation to the race pace. I don't think Haas are that slow compared to the Aston Martins and the Williams, but we will see. We will see. But this is the all-important one, guys. Green flag conditions, pit stop lost time, 20 seconds. Not particularly too long here at the Silverstone circuit. Pit stop lost time. Safety car, though, you can get 11-second advantage if there is a safety car. And, well, we've had look at that, 88% of the last seven races. Why does that say 2014 to 2017? That's an odd date range period, isn't it? 2014 to 2017. We've definitely had a lot of safety cars here, though, in the past at Silverstone and VSCs. We've even had red flags, of course, if you remember. The most recent one, I think, was Zhou Guan Yu when he flipped up on his roof. Andrew Tramp, by the way, thank you for the 2. Much appreciated. I agree. Hyped for this race, probably the best race of the year. I agree. I think Silverstone always provides. Now, here, this is incorrect. 20%. 20% chance of rain. No. Umbrellas are fully out on the grid walk, by the way, that I'm seeing at the moment. This is what we want. So this is the BBC weather. This is our national, pretty much, weather here in the UK. And, well, you can see here. Let me refresh it, actually. Let's see what it is saying. What is it telling us? Well, it is telling us that it is a 55% chance of rain at the moment at 3 o'clock, with it reducing as the time goes on. So we're pretty much going to get a wet race to start here. Here is Silverstone, as you can see. Well, let's play it, shall we? Where is the rain? Is it coming in? Has it passed? Seems to be, that's tomorrow. But it seems to be that really we might have seen the last of the rain. It might just be a wet start to this race, which will be music to Max Verstappen's ears, because he will want, of course, a drier race as possible. But yes, that is what we've got there for Silverstone. It does seem like that we're going to have rain. Of course, it's very windy out in the region of Northamptonshire, where Silverstone is based. Very wide open. So even though this weather report, of course, is not always accurate, it can change very quickly, the weather, and the rain can come in when it's not been expected to very quickly over this race circuit. So you wish Albon wins. He's not going to win, I don't think, but yes, Albon, I mean, where are they starting actually? He's starting 14th, isn't he? No, Alex Albon's starting 13th after being promoted a position because of what happened with Kimi Antonelli's Ollie Behrman's 10-place grid penalty. So, but yes, that is it, guys. That is what we have for today. Not really much else to discuss. The strategy options are kind of irrelevant now because of that wet weather tyre start, or the intermediate tyre start. We will see. Will we still see, though, maybe with a dry track or drying track? The 2-stop may still be a viable option. Maybe the 1-stop will be. Maybe it will just be an intermediate to a 1-stop. It's going to be intriguing. Hopefully, what we don't get, even if the track dries, hopefully we get the track dry enough that it's not just a case of like we saw in Australia where there's one dry line. That's what we don't want. We ultimately want to see a track that dries out fully. You know, we don't want to see where it's just one dry line and it's very, very risky to go off that line to overtake. Hopefully that's not the case at Silverstone. Never generally tends to be. A very wide circuit, Silverstone. Plenty of overtaking opportunities. That's what we want to see. And when it comes to strategy, it's wide open for the teams as they have all the same tyres to choose from, other than Tsunoda, who's starting down, of course, in 12th, Stroll in Q1, etc. But all the top drivers have that available. You remember the Hurricane of 87, Met Office said it wouldn't hit us. It did us. Yeah, I don't remember that, but I remember the story. I wasn't born yet, Dan, so apologies to make you feel a bit old there, but I wasn't born yet. A few years away from my existence in this world. Best wet weather race I've ever seen? That I can remember, in recent memory, I think Turkey was very good. I think that was a really good race up and down the field. That's one that comes to mind. I mean, Interlagos was recently with Max Verstappen's win and the Alpines finishing on the podium there. That was a really good race as well. Yeah, there's been a few. Why do I say Max is out of the championship? We have 14 races, including this one. By my bold statement, I don't think it's a bold statement at all. He's 61 points behind, so he's more than 2 race wins behind Piastri and Norris, who have comfortably the quickest car at every race circuit. There are going to be race circuits where they're not the quickest, but that's a significant amount of points that he has to gather over the next 14 races when that Red Bull is only going to be quick at certain race circuits. There are going to be circuits where that Red Bull finishes 5th, 4th. It's not even in Max's hands, and that's going to be a considerable points loss that he is going to lose to those McLarens who will be finishing one way or the other in the top 3. I think, unless they collide. So yeah, that's why I think Max Verstappen is out of this championship. So he's more than 2 race wins behind. That's significant in a car that's not the fastest. And this isn't last year where he had that points advantage over Lando Norris for him to chase down. He's now the chaser, and he's even said it himself. He's out of that championship. So that's my logic behind it. He needs 2 back-to-back McLaren DNFs. He does. However, he needs more than that, really. He needs more than 2 back-to-back DNFs to be even considered to be back in the championship. And also, how often do we see DNFs from... Unless they collide, we don't see a lot of DNFs anymore in Formula 1. We've seen a couple, of course, from Williams in particular, and Mercedes, but McLaren have been so good with their reliability for many years now, since they've obviously got themselves back to the top. So yeah, that's my reason why. That's my logic. Never say never. I will happily accept that I was wrong, but my logic is, and my maths is telling me that's what the case is at the moment. So who do I think... where do I think George will go? George will go back to Red Bull. So non-zero chance Max can win, but it's not that much higher than 0. Car returns have dramatically gone down since the zeros. Exactly, yeah, reliability is so much better now. Now, interestingly, McLaren are the only Mercedes-powered car on the grid who hasn't had issues with their power unit. That's primarily due to the fact that they've just got much better cooling. They've got a much better package than that of Mercedes, that of Williams. And that of Aston Martin, who've also had a unit retirement as well from Fernando Alonso. So, yeah, they most definitely have the better car, the best car on the grid at the moment. So it's going to be very difficult to beat them. I think Red Bull are a bit like Man United. They have had their day for now. In this set of regs, yeah, very dominating. Of course, all focus as well. We're also as well. The reason why I also say about Max not being able to get back into this championship is that we're also in a set of regs now where people are pausing their development and moving on to 2026. That's why we've seen the fall off of Williams already. That's why we've seen the likes of Stake F1 actually have a launch up the grid, because they have continued to develop where others have decided to move focus to 2026. So Red Bull, I don't think, are going to continue to focus on this year's car for much longer, and that's why they won't catch McLaren at the moment, or for the remainder of this season as well. If they were continuing to develop that car, maybe, but even then, it's still a very tall order with the car that McLaren have produced. So, it all depends on Max's car today. Yeah, Max's car today is going to be interesting. Of course, with that setup, he's got a lower downforce setup, so we'll see how he fares. But I'm just going to change scene again, guys, and set back up to the live data as we are approaching 15 minutes before the formation lap gets underway here, hopefully. Right. Here we go. Let's go. Where is all my stuff? I need to go grab my fan as well. It's getting very hot in this room. I didn't think I'd need it today, but it seems like with that sun poking its way through here in the UK, where I am anyway, it's very, very warm right now under these lights. And I'm going to need to be cool. Need to have a cool head for I think what we're going to be expecting today. Right, let's see. Hopefully everything's okay. There we go. It's all right, I think. There we go. Bosh. Ready to rock and roll, guys. Ready to rock and roll. Morning, Eva. Good to see you. You won't be able to watch full stream. That's okay. No worries. As long as you've hit the like button and hit that subscribe button, that is what matters. What am I thought were the technical regs regarding the cooling of the tyres McLaren uses at the moment? Are they going to be forbidden for the start of 2026? I don't think they're going to be forbidden. No, I think McLaren have just... Well, I think the FIA have stated that... Oh, my goodness. Sorry, I've just seen Mohammed Ben Sulayem stand at the forefront of the national anthem. He is front and centre ahead of the drivers. Sorry, just need a breather for a second. I'm not a fan of that man. Not a fan. I knew he'd make an appearance here this weekend. I knew he would want to be front and centre. Absolute attention seeker, that man. Absolute attention seeker. But going back to the race. Risk of rain, by the way, 60%. Oh my goodness, that's very high. Very, very high. MBS just can't. Yeah, he can't. He just can't. So, when do I ever see Lewis outperforming his car as Max has done time and time again? I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't think Lewis is in that. I don't think Lewis has ever been on top of this set of regulations. I don't think we're going to see that from Lewis this season. Max has been able to do that from the get-go. Obviously, as well, you have two drivers at very different stages of their career. Max is in the peak of his career. Hamilton is at the end of his career. So, to try and get on top and adapt to cars now is going to be a lot harder for Lewis Hamilton at his age. And for Max Verstappen, it's going to be a lot easier. It's going to be a lot easier for someone who's younger, who hasn't driven for as long with kind of different regulations, different types of cars, than it is for someone like Lewis and Alonso, who have been driving cars for many, many years. Is Max going to Mercedes next year? That's a question that I'm not going to continue to answer. I don't know. There's no new information on that. We're going to not comment on that until any further information comes to light on it. But yeah, we will see. We will see, of course. Time will tell. Silly season, I think, could be in full swing very early on. Of course, we're only a few weeks. We're not far away from this summer break getting underway. We do have a couple of weeks break after this race weekend before we then head to Spa and then the Hungaroring back to back. And then, of course, we have that summer break where we come back after 3 weeks, I think it is, maybe even 4 weeks at Zandvoort. Oh, yeah, a little bit, yeah. You don't want it now? Okay. Right, just bear with me, guys. Going to go have an early loo break. And I'm going to go grab my fan as well, which I most desperately need. Suggest you guys do the same. We have just over 11 minutes until the formation lap gets underway. The sun is starting to poke its way through the clouds here at the Silverstone circuit, I can see. But there is rain forecast. 60% chance of rain is forecast here. So we could see more. I'm dread to think how many race pit stops we're going to see here today, actually. We could see maybe 4 pit stops here today if we get the track dry out very early on, or maybe we'll see drivers hang out for as long as possible on those intermediate tyres while the track dries for that rain to come in. It's going to be very, very interesting today of obviously who makes the decision at the right time. We've seen drivers completely balls it up here in the past when it comes to calling strategy calls and tyre choices at Silverstone, and we've seen drivers get it absolutely bang on. And one of the best of them is Lewis Hamilton, who gets it very, very right. So let's see how it fares. Different setups in utilisation today. Let's see how that fares in these changeable conditions. But yes, be back in just a sec, guys. I'm back. Very interesting comments from Christian Horner just there, guys. Very interesting comments from Christian Horner. He said the first few laps are going to be about surviving as they have a rear wing about as thick as a tea tray. So that is what Christian Horner has stated. Of course, we could potentially have, of course, a very interesting first opening laps here, of course, with different setups, with those more preferred for dry conditions compared to wet conditions. Who is going to fare better? Max Verstappen in that low downforce setup starting at the front today, or is it going to be the McLarens who have a bit more downforce? Likewise, the Ferraris as well. Don't rule out George Russell. Do think that Mercedes, unfortunately, is going to struggle when it comes to race pace. But brilliant lap from George Russell yesterday. But we will see how he fares. Track conditions, 17.1 air degrees at the moment with a 24.5 degree track temperature. So that track temperature is increasing a little bit as the sun has poked its head out. But yeah, we will see. We will see. What's a tea tray? A tray that you put tea on. Max probably won't have much downforce. No, not to start this race, but we'll see. It's not just wet, it's the changing conditions, dry to wet, that will call teams out. So yeah, I think looking at it, with if the sun stays out now, it's going to be switching to dry tyres very early on. So yeah, we'll see how it fares. Do I need to redo the poll? No, I don't think so. We'll leave the poll as it is. Over the 3,000 votes right now. So Verstappen leading. Hamilton is supposed to be Hamilton/Leclerc, by the way. So yeah, 31% for Lewis Hamilton or Charles Leclerc. Piastri, 18%. Not many of you have faith in the McLarens, to be honest, today. Intriguing. I mean, they are kind of in a race of their own, to be honest with you, aren't they? They are in a race of their own, similar to kind of what happened in Canada. Piastri's trying to obviously increase his advantage at the top of the championship over Lando Norris. Let's see if I've got those championship predictions at the moment. Let's have a look at those, shall we, just for a second. We can see here, and I will keep an eye on those permutations throughout the race today. But we can see that Oscar Piastri at the moment has a 15-point advantage over Lando Norris. Of course, 7 points gained by Lando last time around in Austria. We have Max Verstappen, those 61 points behind that I mentioned, to Oscar Piastri at the moment. That's a significant deficit at the top of the standings after him losing out and scoring no points after Kimi Antonelli taking him out at the third corner last time around. So yes, he's starting pole today, hoping to maybe get back in the championship. But look, as we mentioned, he's more than 2 race wins behind Oscar Piastri at the top of the standings. So yeah, needs a helping hand from those McLarens, not once, not twice, but probably 3 or 4 times throughout the remainder of this season. It's not out of the realms of possibility, but it is a tall order, with that Red Bull obviously being very difficult to try and dial in over a weekend. George Russell there, P4. I mean, let's be honest right now, guys. I said I wasn't going to talk about Max and his potential move to another team, but does Max want to win the race? Does he want to maybe remove himself from the top 4 so that he can move teams, you know? I'm just saying, getting my tinfoil hat on. Does he want to be? Does he want to be winning the races? Or does he want to maybe force the hand and have that option of moving somewhere else with a release clause that is rumoured to be him if he's outside the top 4 of the championship? So still some way to go, but we'll see. But yeah. You wish Lewis Hamilton could go back to McLaren? I mean, I said, it'd be very interesting if Lewis Hamilton was in that McLaren this year, and of course, say Fernando Alonso. I do think that those two, if they were back in the McLaren, they would be fine now for the championship this year. But yeah. Why is Verstappen P3? This is just the championship standings. That's just the championship standings, of course, at the top. Let me move this over here. So the championship standings, you've got the constructors over to your right and the drivers as it currently stands before this race gets underway. Oh dear, as I just do that, that's disappointing. The formation lap will be started behind the safety car. Don't do that. That means that they're wanting to get rid of some standing water out on track. That is so risk averse. Come on. I mean, I really hope that we are still going to be getting a standing start, but that does not bode well, to be perfectly honest with you guys, that we are probably not going to get 52 full laps of racing here. It could be that we get 50 laps because they probably want to get rid of some standing water that is out on track at the moment. Of course, these cars disperse a considerable amount of water with their intermediate tyres. I think it's going to be an intermediate start. I don't think it's going to be a wet tyre start, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. It's not a rolling start yet, Ben. That hasn't been confirmed. But starting the formation lap behind the safety car is never a good sign. It's never a good sign, but we'll see. We'll see. It's a bit too busy at the moment with this track. So, imagine having the most talented drivers in the world in last stroll and then deciding to get them to start behind the safety car. Yeah. But we'll see. Standing water beats grass fires in your book. That they don't want Stroll messing up the formation lap by crashing out. I mean, yeah, to be fair, there's plenty of gravel traps around here for him to park his car in. So we'll see. But yes, guys, a big thank you for tuning in. As always, we have just 3 minutes until the formation lap, which will be started behind the safety car, gets underway. Max Verstappen on pole position. It does look like it's going to be a wet start to this race. Not raining yet. It's not raining, as you can see. If you want to know if it's raining today, guys, of course, you guys are going to be asking me, no doubt, is it raining? When is it raining? Well, you can see at the top right-hand corner here in the middle, just on the timing tower, rain. This will change to yes. A simple yes will tell us whether it is raining or not. So, yes, that is when the FIA will be deeming pretty much that the track is wet conditions. Of course, we'll keep an eye out on the race control as well. They will deactivate the DRS if they think the track is too wet and, of course, if it's raining too heavily. So, yes, there's a number of ways to ascertain if it is raining. I'll be keeping an eye on, of course, the team radio to inform you guys of when they are thinking and relaying to their drivers the garages and the pit wall of when rain is potentially on the way. I think it is almost a guarantee that we are going to get rain in this race, as we do have everyone confirmation they're starting on the intermediate tyre, as is so often the case now in wet weather conditions. No longer really is the wet tyre ever utilised. If we see the wet tyre, the track conditions pretty much it is too wet because the visibility is so poor and there's too much standing water, and the FIA are very risk averse in that regard. So we do have intermediate tyre on. We should hopefully get a standing start like we saw in the F2 and in the F3 earlier on today, although the F3 was eventually postponed and actually it was ended prematurely due to the poor weather conditions. The F2 race did start in wet conditions. It finished in wet conditions as it dried up a little bit, and I think that's maybe what we could see, something akin to that F2 race today. In Southampton, it's 50-50 with weather forecast. It's sunny and raining. Yeah, same here where I am in London. It has been very intermittent here. We've had some sun. We've had some torrential downpours. We could see maybe a postponement of this race throughout as we get maybe halfway through. But at the moment, we are going to be getting green light when it is supposed to be going ahead. Unless there is too much standing water, but the sun is out. I can see the anoraks and the umbrellas have been removed and put down by those in the stands, so they are now dry or drying off as it currently looks like. But we have 45 seconds remaining until this formation lap gets underway here at the British Grand Prix. Are you ready? Now's your last chance to go have that toilet break, to get your beverages, to get your popcorn, and get settled in, because this is the British Grand Prix. This is going to be a banger of a race. As Fernando Alonso is asked, what is the latest? We're expecting around lap 15 to 17, potentially a heavy rain cell, is what Fernando Alonso has just been told over the radio. Lap 15 to 17, right around the first stint, the end of the first stint. Yes, Jarvis, time for some fun. Time for some fun. Of course, guys, if you can continue to hit that like and subscribe button, much appreciated. Over nearly 6,000 of you in the stream now before the race even gets underway. And there we go. The race start. The timer has ended there. We should see Colapinto making his way to the end of the pit lane. And, well, well, the drivers should be making their way. Bit of a delay here, it seems, to this formation lap. But there you can see Max Verstappen's icon getting underway there as the drivers are following behind the safety car. The track is very sunny at the moment. This track is going to dry up very quickly. And I suppose this is going to make things very interesting because as the track dries up, the intermediate tyre is going to burn off. The drivers are going to be looking to find those wet areas to cool those tyres to ensure that they've still got the tread, because we are going to see right at the stage of that first stint, at the end of that first stint, we are going to see really drivers probably struggling. We could see some offs with that heavy rain cell that is predicted to come in around lap 15 and 17, reported by Fernando Alonso's engineer. But here we go, guys. Low grip conditions. This is the British Grand Prix. Let's have a rundown of our grid, shall we, as we have penalties applied from last week in Austria in the form of Kimi Antonelli, and of course yesterday with Ollie Behrman's 10th-place grid penalty after, unfortunately, what was a brilliant Q3 performance from him. But it is Max Verstappen on pole position after a brilliant lap yesterday, something that no one expected after struggling so much on the Friday. But how often have we seen him struggle on the Friday and then pull it out the bag on the Saturday, and, well, even the Sunday, as he is on pole position ahead of Oscar Piastri, who'll be starting up his inside. But it is a very unique circuit here where it is not all about that turn 1 corner. It's more so about turn 3, even into turn 6. How will Max fare on that skinnier rear wing with the lower downforce setup in these slippery conditions to start this race? Lando Norris in P3, still not bad from him. Of course, he would be like to a minimum start on the front row, at minimum ahead of his teammates. Let's see how he fares, trying to aim to win his first ever home race at Silverstone. George Russell in P4, an unbelievable performance from him yesterday. Let's see how his race pace is compared to his quali pace, which was amazing yesterday. Lewis Hamilton, expected more from him, of course, aiming for his 12th, a record 10th win, at Silverstone, the British Grand Prix. Let's see how he fares in a pacey Ferrari in P5, with Charles Leclerc close behind him as well. Fernando Alonso promoted 2 positions to P7 due to those penalties by Antonelli and Behrman. Gasly, a great performance from him, starting 8th in a very struggling Alpine. Carlos Sainz in 9th as well. Kimi Antonelli, 3-place grid penalty for crashing into Max Verstappen last time around in Austria. Tsunoda moves up a position because of Behrman's penalty in 11th, as does Hadjar in 12th, as does Albon in 13th, and Ocon and Lawson in 14th and 15th. Bortoletto starts 16th. Lance Stroll is in 17th, and Ollie Behrman with that pacey Haas in 18th place. A 10-place grid penalty for him. We'll see how he fares. As George Russell, we are seeing drivers commit to the slick tyres already, it seems here maybe, or the wet compound tyre. We have drivers pitting before the race even begins. Bold strategy decisions here by George Russell, by Charles Leclerc, by Isaac Hadjar, and we have drama here before the race has even begun. Confirmation of a standing start. That is going to relinquish some positions on the grid and give drivers space to go into at the start of this race. Bortoletto in the pits as well. Ollie Behrman's in the pits, as is Colapinto. We will see what tyres they are on as they exit the pit lane, as they line up at the end of the pit lane. Bold decisions here. The sun is out and it is medium compound tyres for Charles Leclerc, hard compound tyres for George Russell, and we have varying tyres already. What will be the response of those on the intermediate tyres as we have drivers at the back here? It is a standing start. It's green light, away we go. How do they fare as they head down into turn 1? Max Verstappen on that skinnier rear wing, low downforce setup, gets a decent start and leads into turn 1. We have drivers starting from the pit lane on the slick tyres. We'll see how they fare. But Max Verstappen leads into turn 3 with Oscar Piastri P2, Norris P3, Hamilton, and drivers who have yet, of course, to dive into the pit lane and change onto those slick tyres have improved as Pierre Gasly moves up 3 positions there and gets ahead of Fernando Alonso. But what will these drivers do? What will they be thinking right now? We do expect that rain, as Piastri says the last sector is too wet for slicks already, as there is a yellow flag from Liam Lawson, spinning through turn 5 already, and he's not even on the slick compound tyres. Drama at the start of this British Grand Prix. It is Verstappen into Brooklands, into Luffield, where he leads from Oscar Piastri. Norris is P3 as Lawson has very slowly getting away again as I'm watching the replay of what has just occurred with Liam Lawson. I think Lawson has potentially come to a stop. We will see what has occurred. Oh my God, Lawson went flying off in the background of the image. We'll see how he fares, and I think this could be an early safety car here as Max makes his way through Magus and Beckett's. Oscar Piastri is P2, followed closely by Norris with Hamilton close behind in P4. Gasly is in P5, Alonso 6th, Sainz 7th, Antonelli 8th, Albon 9th, and Tsunoda is in 10th. We have Hulkenberg up 8 positions as there's a double yellow down the Wellington Straight with Liam Lawson who's had to pull over. Has he been able to pull over into a safe space where that car is? Where can he go? Where can he go as he pulled that car over to a safe space? We will see, no doubt. They are assessing it right now as I'm watching the TV coverage to try and find out exactly what is occurring. But there is most definitely dry lines forming as Liam Lawson. Is he been able to get going again? No. On the track map, no. But there is most definitely significant wet patches out there at the moment. And I think these slick runners are going to be trundling around at the back right now with Charles Leclerc, you can see, leading. George Russell is actually on the hard compound tyre. He is not on the intermediate. So we have a VSC. We have a VSC. What an unbelievable start. This Colapinto has retired before the race even begun, I think, by the looks of it. Colapinto retired before the race even begun. What has happened with Colapinto? Colapinto potentially having an issue before the race even got started. VSC, Piastri was closing in on his on Max Verstappen out up front there, as I am still trying to take in exactly what has occurred. But what has occurred here is that the VSC has been deployed due to Liam Lawson bringing that out after a big off through turn 5. Now, his car, I think, is intact. He's still trying to get that car going. But no, he has finally given up. I'm not sure what's happened to that car. It did look like he got launched in the air. It slammed back down. And, well, yes, Liam Lawson is out of this race, as Colapinto is, who barely started. So, wow. We have George Russell on the hard compound tyre there. We have Charles Leclerc on the mediums. Isaac Hadjar on the mediums as well, as is Bortoletto and Behrman on the hards, as it currently stands. And, well, there are dry portions out on circuit. The first sector looks to be dry. However, down the Hangar Straight, where Verstappen and Piastri are making their way down now, through Stowe Corner and in the last couple of corners, it does look to be still a little bit too slippery. I'm waiting to hear any engineer messages to the drivers. Yet to hear anything of the like. We should be going racing any time now as Verstappen makes his way through the last couple of corners. Piastri was on the rear as I'm watching a replay now of what happened with Lawson and Ocon. Oh no! Liam Lawson, unfortunately, was on the outside and Yuki Tsunoda decided to make it 3 wide, shove his Red Bull up the inside of Ocon and Liam Lawson, and Lawson didn't know he was 3 wide and turned in, leaving the room for just one car, Esteban Ocon. Ocon had nowhere to go, and Lawson is out of this race. So really, inadvertently, Yuki Tsunoda has taken out Liam Lawson there. But we can see that Antonelli diving into the pit lane as well. So we still don't have a safety car at the moment. But what we do have is drivers deciding to go onto the slicks. Antonelli, is this going to pay off for them? It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pans out for him. But Antonelli, Russell, both Mercedes on the slicks. Leclerc as well, Hadjar as well as Bortoletto and Ollie Behrman. Colapinto still yet to get confirmation of why he did not start this race. I'm pretty sure he didn't start this race. He dived into the pit lane and retired the car before he even got going. Is that the last race for Colapinto in F1? We will see. But a big thank you, everyone. By the way, if you're tuning into this very hectic start to this British Grand Prix, it got hectic before the race even began with drivers diving into the pit lane. Big thank you to everyone tuning in. Hit that like button and get this stream to over 1,000 likes, as well as 50,000 subscribers as well. But let's see, when is this VSC going as they are currently? This VSC is going to continue for just probably maybe another lap, as we can see, but they are slowly wheeling. They're slowly wheeling. As Ocon reports, the wheel track is good for slicks apart from the last 2 corners at the moment. Could we see pit stops this lap from the leaders? Let's see how it fares for them, because this VSC, I do believe, will be removed this lap as they will wheel in Lawson's car into a safe area there. It will be ending very shortly. There is a double yellow in Sector 5, they're saying, so that's obviously where they're putting Liam Lawson's car at the moment. What will Verstappen, Piastri, Norris and Hamilton do? It looks like Norris might be backing up at the moment to try and get a gap. As watching the race start there, really not too much to note, as Fernando Alonso got nicely around Pierre Gasly, or defended from Pierre Gasly there, down into turn 1 and turn 3, and then Gasly regained the position. No one has decided to pit. Okay, interesting. Verstappen, the leaders, that top 12 still staying out on the intermediate compound tyres. This is going to be interesting as the track has now been noted as clear. No doubt the VSC is ending. Here we go. VSC is ending. But Piastri was all over the rear of Max Verstappen when the VSC was deployed. And well, let's see how they fare as this VSC comes to an end. How are these slick runners going to get on? Antonelli has been able to get ahead of George Russell in all of that after Russell decided to pit very early on. It is apparently only the last 2 corners that is quite wet at the moment. But how much longer will it be wet in those last couple of corners? Will the slick runners, Antonelli, Russell, Leclerc, Hadjar, Bortoletto and Behrman at the moment running currently 19 seconds behind Max Verstappen? How will they be able to keep up the pace? Remember, there's a 20-second pit stop lost time here at Silverstone at best. And well, as it currently stands, Antonelli is around that window and could potentially gather as Bortoletto's gone off through turn 2. We have another yellow flag, and well, Bortoletto has gone off. Has he had a spin on those hard medium compound tyres? We could see a safety car here or another VSC, and well, this could really put a spanner in the works to those who decided to pit early. As Bortoletto, what has occurred? He's got going again. Bortoletto has got going again. The yellow flag has been removed. No opportunity as, oh dear, Bortoletto has got going again, but he has no rear wing. He has a damaged rear wing. That'll be the end of Bortoletto's race. We'll see if he's able to pull that car over to a safe place and whether the team will tell him to retire the car. But Bortoletto has gone. As Hamilton is informed, there will be rain in 10 laps. Oh my goodness. The track is drying. We have a third of the field on hard and slick compound tyres. Even though there is still a couple of wet areas out on track, Bortoletto is still going round here. I'm surprised the team haven't told him to retire the car. This could be a further penalty for Bortoletto in Stake F1 if he is not told to retire the car. As I'm watching a replay of him, and well, what has happened to him? And he's just lost the car under throttle. He's lost the car under throttle in the most innocuous way, and those tyres not up to temperature on a slight wet patch. And well, Bortoletto should be retiring this car right now. I'm surprised the team have not told him to retire the car. He has no rear wing. He literally has no rear wing at this moment in time from what I am seeing from the images of Gabriel Bortoletto. We are not even 5 laps completed in this British Grand Prix at the moment, guys, and we have already lost Liam Lawson and pretty much Gabriel Bortoletto. Is a yellow flag as Bortoletto is indeed. Has he gone off again through turn 9? Or is he pulling over? Is he being finally told to retire the car? And that's not a very good area for Bortoletto to do it, as Verstappen is under pressure from Oscar Piastri as they are pulling away from Lando Norris as it currently stands, as Lando Norris has a gap as Bortoletto has indeed moved over. There is a yellow flag there, but is he off to a safe space, or will we see another VSC? And well, Piastri is on full attack here on Max Verstappen. Well, there's a discussion of whether or not it's the right decision to be on slicks at the moment or on intermediates with a drying track, with rain incumbent in 10 laps time. Piastri is trying to get the lead and extend his championship lead at the top back to over 20 points over his teammate Lando Norris as it currently stands. Oh my goodness, what a start to this race. Gabriel Bortoletto still a yellow in that turn 9 corner, Copse corner at the moment, as Bortoletto has pulled his car over there. But Piastri still not able to get past Verstappen at the moment because DRS has not been activated. And we have another VSC, our second VSC this race thus far in 6 laps. Gabriel Bortoletto's car, unfortunately, ample opportunity to pull that car over in a safe place where he was unable to, where he would not have interrupted the race, has unfortunately been unable to do so and is currently parked up just off the exit of turn 9 currently. And well, yes, that has brought out the second VSC. Now, will anyone decide to pit here? They've all gone round. They've all gone round, the drivers on the intermediate tyres at the moment. The lap times from those slick runners at the moment is not good enough. 155, well, I say 155, it was a 151 last time around. They're still 6 seconds, 5 seconds slower at the moment. George Russell, Kimi Antonelli, Charles Leclerc, then those on the intermediate tyres. But for how much longer will they be? At the moment, the intermediate is still the quicker tyre, but there is no doubt a transition incoming. But how long will it stay dry for? How long will those Mercedes and Charles Leclerc, Isaac Hadjar and Behrman be able to utilise potentially the dry conditions before more rain comes in? Very, very interesting decisions being made here by the teams. Mercedes making a bold strategy decision. I'm surprised they haven't decided to leave Antonelli out there. They've gambled for both of them. Very, very bold there from them, as we have a double yellow in Sector 10, as they are, of course, removing Bortoletto's car at the moment. But what a unbelievable start of this race, as Russell is reported are much quicker here and has been, of course, given the position by Kimi Antonelli as he started some ways ahead of his younger teammate. But wow, this is the British Grand Prix, everyone. This is the British Grand Prix. I have my work cut out for me today. I hope, obviously, you guys are keeping up to speed with everything that is happening and are making sense at this moment in time. But if you are just joining us, what has happened? Well, we have seen a drying Silverstone here, with drivers making a pit stop before the race even begun. They dived into the pit lane, George Russell, Charles Leclerc, Isaac Hadjar, Ollie Behrman, even Gabriel Bortoletto, and they ended up on slick tyres. But the track is still wet in a couple of areas that is costing them a considerable amount of time. But for how much longer? The intermediates is still quicker, as we have Lance Stroll diving into the pits. Well, that means we're definitely getting a safety car in the next few laps, guys. Or at minimum a red flag, as Lance Stroll is diving into the pit lane and he is going to be on a set of slicks as well. So drivers and teams are thinking that even though rain is incoming in 10 laps time, even less than that now, as that message was quite old, lap 15 to lap 17 is what we were predicted before the race began by the engineer of Fernando Alonso. Quite heavy rain as well. We are seeing that Verstappen and Piastri are fighting at the moment, as Alonso is told again, light rain around 6 laps, then 4 laps later, harder rain. Oh, so the last sector at the moment. So I'm watching the onboard images at the moment, and what is really hampering those slick tyre runners is that the last sector, the Stowe corner and the run down, the braking zone into turn 16 and turn 17, the last couple of corners, Val and Club, it is still significantly wet. So that is really where it is an issue for them. There'll be heavy rain 4 laps after the light rain arrives. So we are looking, as a safety car is coming to an end, and Mr. Piastri will be on the attack again of Max Verstappen. You do suspect, really, as we go back to the lead of this actual race and this kind of ignore everything that has occurred, as Piastri is all over the rear of Max Verstappen. Is that an over-exaggerated launch there from Piastri as the virtual safety car was coming to an end, or was Verstappen a little bit slow to respond to the virtual safety car ending? But without DRS at the moment, Verstappen is holding on and holding off Oscar Piastri, but Piastri has a decent run as they head down into Stowe corner. They're both on the intermediate tyres. They will have grip, but will Piastri be able to get round that pacey Red Bull in a straight line? And at the moment, he's not able to. You do suspect he needs that DRS assistance, but with the track still being a little bit too wet, the FIA have not enabled DRS. Race control have not enabled DRS just yet, thankfully, to Max Verstappen's glee, as he is looking in his rearview mirrors and seeing it absolutely filled with the papaya of Oscar Piastri. Lando Norris's teammate is just a little bit further back, as we often see from Lando Norris drop just a little bit further back in this first stint to look after his tyres, especially in a track that is majority dry now, apart from the last couple of corners, as we have normal grip conditions detailed there from race control. That means we are moments away from DRS activated, as we can see George Russell has just set the fastest middle sector, a 39.7 for George Russell there, a purple from him and a green, a 30.9 in the last sector. This is it. This is the changeover for slicks, but with rain incoming in 5 laps time, what do the front runners do? Do they pit and take that pit stop lost time, or do they try and hold on to track position? As Piastri has got a great exit out of Luffield, it could be Hamilton and Verstappen all over again through Copse Corner, and no, Piastri decides to think better of it and bide his time. He is all over the rear wing of Max Verstappen as they make their way through Maggis and Beckett. Does he decide to go for the move? No, he has to back out. He did poke a nose, but has he got too close to Verstappen through the very tight, twisty Maggis and Beckett's there? It's all about the exit through turn 14, the run down, the hanger straight and we can see that DRS is now enabled for Oscar Piastri. Could this be the move for the lead? And he's got ahead of him, but can he hold off Verstappen into Stowe corner? I think he can, unless Verstappen comes back at him down into Val, and Piastri holds off Verstappen, and that's the moment he was waiting for, the DRS to be activated as Piastri takes the lead of the British Grand Prix 8 laps into this race, with rain on the way. Purple sectors are lighting up everywhere at the bottom of the standings at the moment, as you can see. The medium, hard and soft compound runners, those on the slick tyres, are firing it up. I'm looking at the TV coverage and there are significantly dark grey clouds hovering over Silverstone at this moment in time. We still have 44 laps remaining in this race. Piastri leads from Max Verstappen, who we wondered how he would fare in these slippery, wet conditions with that lower downforce setup. Well, it seems that at the moment Piastri on these intermediate tyres is faring much better than Verstappen, as it was an easy move for Piastri. But there is rain. I can visually see rain falling in the distance, just not far away from the Silverstone circuit. It is not far at all. And well, these soft tyre runners, these slick runners, have they made the wrong decision here? The tyres are coming good. They're making time on those ahead. But with that rain incoming, these drivers out up front on the intermediates, Piastri, Verstappen, Norris, Hamilton, they are not going to be in a position to want to pit right now. But will it miss the track, as is always potentially the case at Silverstone? Very blustery, former disused airfield that is Silverstone, now racetrack, as Kimi Antonelli is fighting off Charles Leclerc at the moment, who is on the medium compound tyre. We're seeing Lance Stroll on the soft make absolute ground here through the mid-pack on the soft compound tyre. He is up 7 positions at the moment, with drivers out of this race in the form of Bortoletto, Lawson and Colapinto not even starting. Piastri now 2.6 seconds ahead of Max Verstappen, who is now being closed down by Lando Norris, as we see Max Verstappen edging his way through turn 18. Let's see what that lap time was from Lando Norris. Well, that's 8 tenths quicker that Lando Norris was last lap compared to Max Verstappen. Max is starting to struggle a bit now on this intermediate set of tyres, as Hulkenberg has dived into the pits. He's no doubt going on to a set of slicks, or is he going on to a brand new set of intermediates? We can see the purples. George Russell is setting a purple sector at minimum every single lap at the moment, as we can see, and Hulkenberg falling through the field there as Antonelli is pitting again. Antonelli is pitting again. What is going on with Mercedes here? Let's see what Antonelli is going to go on to. Is he going to go on to a set of intermediates, as Hulkenberg does indeed come out onto a brand new set of intermediates? So is Antonelli also following suit? Do they think the rain is in the air? Is it about to fall? We will see, as Antonelli does indeed come out on a set of intermediates as well. So Kimi Antonelli, who came into the pits onto a set of hard compound tyres, is now back out onto a brand new set of intermediates. Of course, these intermediates right now, they are burning through them like no tomorrow, as the track is currently dry. They're all waiting for the rain, and that is no doubt what Max Verstappen is experiencing right now, as he is being closed down upon at a rate of knots by Lando Norris, who is 1.3 seconds behind. Oscar Piastri, I'm getting flashbacks to Miami, ladies and gentlemen, where Max Verstappen led from the get-go. We saw rain, Piastri got ahead, and Max Verstappen held off Lando Norris, and then eventually it was an easy win for Piastri and Norris coming second. But with this race, with rain on the way, with it potentially drying up later in the race as well, there's so much that could occur here still with 42 laps remaining. But one thing for sure is DRS has been disabled again. DRS has just been disabled. Lance Stroll is back into the pits. Russell is back into the pits as well, as is Charles Leclerc. Is Charles Leclerc going to dive back into the pit lane? I think he is, as we have low grip conditions being informed. So has Nico Hulkenberg timed that pit stop perfectly, as the Stake F1 team have done so with their strategy options previously? Why is Hamilton slow at the moment? I saw a comment there is that Hamilton is experiencing the same issues as Max Verstappen, where with these drying conditions, the intermediates are just falling off, as Nico Hulkenberg has done a purple in the last sector. It seems the rain is really coming through in that last sector at the moment, as Max Verstappen says, as it really starts to hit hard. We need to box. As Verstappen is really struggling as there's rain, there's visible strong rain down the Wellington Straight into Brooklands. So yes, the right decision to be on the intermediates now. As Verstappen struggling through Copse Corner. His intermediates have had it. Can Lando Norris get Verstappen before they even head into Maggotts and Beckett's? No, he cannot. He thinks better of it as Verstappen covers him off. But Max is struggling. But you do suspect that pit stops will now be made galore by those up front with their intermediates starting to fall off. Hold on with the losses. Verstappen's off through Maggotts and Beckett's, and Norris has got through into P2. Verstappen has an off on those struggling intermediate tyres. We wondered how he would fare in that lower downforce setup. It was brilliant in dry conditions for quali as Piastri pits. Norris stays out. No, it's going to be a double stack for McLaren. It's going to be a double stack for McLaren. Verstappen follows suit. He needs to as well, as he's just had an off. He went off at the exit of Maggotts and Beckett's, and Lando said thank you very much as Max was struggling considerably on those tyres. But let's see what he can do with brand new tyres on. But it does seem that everyone now diving into the pit lane. Alex Albon is the only driver to stay out there, it seems, as Max Verstappen has regained P2 in the pit lane from Lando Norris. Unbelievable pit stop from Max Verstappen and Red Bull, as Lando Norris, the double stack didn't work. The double stack didn't work for McLaren. It was a significantly slow pit stop for McLaren. The front left was slow. The front left considerably slow. And now Max Verstappen is back ahead of Lando Norris into turn 4. Well, actually, I say that as Verstappen is looking to overtake Alex Albon, and could Alex Albon maybe play into the hands of Lando Norris here? But yes, 28 seconds in the pit lane for Max Verstappen compared to the 30 of Lando Norris. A poor pit stop by the McLaren crew, and well, that has allowed Max Verstappen to regain P2 here. And well, Piastri is laughing to the end of this race as it currently stands, as he currently has a 9-second lead over Max Verstappen. Lando Norris trying to dispatch Alex Albon, who is struggling on those intermediates, those used intermediates at the moment, with Norris on brand new tyres and Max Verstappen on brand new tyres. Lewis Hamilton finds himself out behind Nico Hülkenberg. Yes, you heard that correctly. Nico Hülkenberg and Lance Stroll are out there in P6 and 7th on merit, ladies and gentlemen. 1 lap old tyres for Lance Stroll. 2 lap old tyres for Nico Hülkenberg, and Hamilton now finds himself in P8. Net P7 behind, net P6 behind Stroll and Hülkenberg. Unbelievable right there. Those guys, other than Lance Stroll, who delayed going on to those soft tyres early on, other than everyone else out there, anyone who pitted very early for those slick tyres has made the wrong decision. Charles Leclerc finds himself down in P14 at the moment. Antonelli down in P15. Isaac Hadjar in P16. Behrman in P17. Those who decided to start on slick tyres at the start of this race, that gamble has massively backfired. But we can see that Lando is in P3 now, 2 seconds behind Max Verstappen, as Piastri is increasing his lead at the front to 10.5 seconds. As I mentioned, this has the hallmarks, the flashbacks of Miami all over again, as we see Alex Albon falling through the pack there as he stayed out a lap longer on used intermediates, as Lando Norris dispatched Albon comfortably through the exit of Maggotts and Beckett's. But let's have a rundown of this grid, shall we, as it currently stands, as Oscar Piastri leads from Max Verstappen, as Lance Stroll has moved up into P4. Lance Stroll is in P4. Unbelievable. Lando Norris has been reported. We expect at least 10 minutes of rain. A chaotic race at the moment, as Lance Stroll is coming under attack by Nico Hülkenberg down into Brooklands, but Stroll holds him off. Piastri leads from Verstappen by 11.7 seconds as Norris is within that 1 second range of Verstappen. Verstappen on that lower downforce setup having to scrub off so much speed to keep the rear of that car stable through the faster corners, which it would be tremendous in dry conditions, but not so much in wet conditions where you want more downforce, which the McLaren most evidently has, as Norris is all over the rear of Max. He's already gone off at Maggotts and Beckett's. Can he keep it there? Well, there we go, he does, but Lando Norris will have the toe down into turn 15, but we know the Red Bull is quick in a straight line. Max's gap to Piastri now is 13 seconds, and the time is being bled by Lando Norris the longer he stays behind Max. But he did get past him. It's the team with a very slow pit stop that allowed Max to get back past. And there's a yellow flag through Maggotts and Beckett's. Who has gone off there through Maggotts and Beckett's? Someone went off quite slightly there. We had a brief yellow flag through Maggots and Beckett's. Not entirely sure who that was, as we had a slight delay in the track map there. But we can see Norris is still over the rear of Verstappen as we have a safety car. Oh, what has occurred? We have a safety car, our third safety car of this race, and we're not even 15 laps into this race at the British Grand Prix. Unbelievable at the moment. As Hamilton says, it's definitely wet tyres right now. There is hardly any visibility out there at the moment, ladies and gentlemen. That might be why there's a safety car that has been deployed, due to the lack of visibility, not due to the fact that anyone has gone off, but because visibility is absolutely hammering down. I tell you what, I am normally quite critical of the FIA and being too cautious when it comes to safety conditions, but I tell you what right now, this is most definitely the reason for a safety car, and a very valid reason for a safety car. It is torrential out there at the moment. Visibility is zero. But what this does do for us as race fans is condense this field back up. Oscar Piastri's 13.6 second lead over Max Verstappen is going to completely extinguish, and that is going to bunch this field back up again. And well, will we be starting... Will this race be postponed with this current rain that we have? We will see. Of course, they won't want to lose laps, but they also don't want to bring the cars in if possible. But we will see as long as this race currently stays out there. Unbelievable, guys. Unbelievable. Well, thank you for everyone for tuning in, by the way. We are 20 subscribers away, less than 20 subscribers away from 50,000 subscribers, by the way. As we are under this safety car condition at the moment, it'd be amazing if we could achieve that. Big thank you for everyone who has helped us achieve this, by the way, reaching 50,000. Here's to the next 50,000. We're not there yet, but I am getting a little ahead of myself. But wow. Safety car, our third one. If you're just tuning in, poor visibility conditions out there at the moment, as it was indeed Charles Leclerc who went off through Maggots and Beckett's. He did very well to keep control of his car. He just completely cut Maggots and Beckett's. As we have hit over 50,000 subscribers. Thank you very much. Thank you. Wow, what an achievement. Much appreciated. I will get back to the job at hand. I will take in that achievement at the end of this race. But yes, thank you, guys. Thank you. Wow. Oh, Jarvis, thank you for the 5 gifted as well. Much appreciated, everyone. And I'll tell you what, I'll do my 5 gifted at the end as well as an achievement. But yes, as we are... Can't believe we are 15 laps into this race. We have a safety car at the moment due to poor visibility conditions. It is torrential rain out there. However, there is blue sky. This is typical British summer's day at Silverstone at the moment. But if you are just joining us, what is the standings at the moment? Well, Oscar Piastri is P1. He did have a 13-second lead over Verstappen, but now that is going to be wiped completely out as we have Verstappen in P2. He did lose P2 to Lando. He went off at Maggots and Beckett's, but he regained it in the pit lane due to a poor pit stop. A slow front left tyre by the McLaren pit crew meant that Lando Norris relinquished that P2. And, well, Max Verstappen finds himself back ahead of the McLaren and finds himself the meat in a McLaren sandwich at the moment. Lance Stroll. Yes, your eyes and ears are not deceiving you. Lance Stroll is currently up 13 positions in P4 on absolute blooming merit. Yes, guys. Lance Stroll, who went out in Q1, he pitted for the soft compound tyre. He blitzed it for 3 laps, and he pitted at the perfect time onto a brand new set of intermediates as everyone's intermediates were falling off as the rain came down, and he now finds himself in P4. Nico Hulkenberg did something similar. However, he just stayed on his intermediates but pitted at exactly the right moment onto new tyres. Finds himself in P5, up 14 positions. We have Gasly in P6 at the moment. Ocon is up 7 positions, but he is on the same intermediate tyres he started with. So how and what condition are his intermediate tyres in? I do suspect that on this race restart he will fall through the field. We have Lewis Hamilton in P8. Yes, unfortunately, your ears do hear. I'm not deceiving you. Lewis Hamilton finds himself in P8 at this moment in time. Pitting at the wrong time. Bleeding time on those intermediate tyres. And Ferrari too slow to react to that rain incoming. George Russell in P9. He pitted at the end of the formation lap. The first driver to do so. He gambled on the hard compound tyre. And, well, the track was just not suitable for those slick tyres. He fell for the field, but he still still finds himself one position behind Lewis Hamilton. It could be so much worse for him. Fernando Alonso is in P10. Carlos Sainz is in P11. Alex Albon finds himself in P12. Yuki Tsunoda is down 2 places to P13. Charles Leclerc, another driver who gambled. Ferrari gambled with Charles Leclerc on that first lap, and well, at the end of the formation lap, like George Russell, he now finds himself in P14, down 8 positions at the moment. Charles Leclerc made a terrible strategy call last year, if you remember, pitting at exactly the wrong time when it came to wet weather conditions. He gambled there to go on intermediates. The rain never arrived, and well, he has gambled here on the flip side, and it has not paid off for him. Again, not a good track for Charles Leclerc here at Silverstone, it seems. Kimi Antonelli, Mercedes, I'm surprised they decided to put all their eggs in one basket and not split the strategy between the two drivers, as Antonelli also followed George Russell into the pits. He finds himself in P15. Isaac Hadjar, similar, pitting at the end of the formation lap, as did Ollie Behrman, and they are 16th and 17th. We had Bortoletto, who did pit at the end of the formation lap, and he spun, lost control of his car and broke his rear wing. He is out. Liam Lawson found himself in a free wide into turn 5 onto the Wellington straight. Never a given. It wasn't his fault. He didn't know he was free wide. Turned in expecting Ocon to be the only car on his inside, and he broke his left rear suspension. And Colapinto didn't even start this race, and that is the British Grand Prix with only 16 laps completed, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I need a swig of wine. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Now, well, it doesn't seem like that we are going to be getting the safety car for maybe much longer. As it does seem to be that there is a break in the weather. It has currently stopped raining, I think, from the images I'm seeing. So the spray is better. There is blue sky in the background, so we are hopefully going to get racing soon. Yes, that spray is obviously not as considerably bad as it was a few laps ago, which is why we do have the safety car out at the moment. But for us fans, with Oscar Piastri, I mentioned we had the hallmarks of potentially Miami again, with Piastri in those wet weather conditions, getting past Verstappen, then Norris getting held up by Verstappen, and it being a boring 1-2 for McLaren, and no fight for the win. Well, this time around, we do get a safety car, unlike what we saw at Miami. But yes, guys, thank you very much, by the way, for the 50,000 subscribers. Absolutely smashed it. And, well, we still have 37 laps remaining. 37 laps remaining in this Grand Prix. I'm going to end the poll, by the way, and I forgot about that. And, well, 42% of you still think that Verstappen is going to win this race. But yeah, Piastri's percentage has gone up a little bit, it seems. So, yes, for him, it does seem like that he's he's definitely in the driving seat at the moment, isn't he? Out up front, so he's done very well to do so. As soon as he got the first time of asking, when it came to the DRS being activated, he comfortably got past Max Verstappen as he was starting to struggle a bit through the fast corners. The sector where he was so dominant yesterday, which made all the difference in Sector 2. Copse corner, he started to struggle, as he did through Maggis and Beckett's, having that off with Lando Norris close behind him. The corners that were his strong point yesterday have become his weak points in these conditions. And, well, Christian Horner did say that they do not want the wet weather conditions today. They wanted it to be drier. But at the moment, it is still a gamble that has paid off for them, as they are in P2. And, well, he could very well maybe regain P1. Never say never. And at the end of the day, it's better him being in P2 at the moment than it would have been maybe him qualifying outside the top 5, and maybe being down where Hamilton and Russell find themselves right now in P8 and P9 as it currently stands. But safety car, still no update on when the safety car is going to be removed. It can't be long now. I'm looking at the TV coverage and the live images, and it does seem that while the track, of course, is still very wet, the spray is reducing. As what happened there with Max Verstappen just nearly overtook Oscar Piastri down the Wellington Straight into turn 6, Brooklands there. Will that be looked at? Because that was not good from Max Verstappen there. There were no shenanigans being played by Oscar Piastri, like so we say George Russell was in Canada. Max Verstappen may be a little bit lucky that hasn't been investigated yet there, because you're not even allowed to overlap your wheels with the car in front anymore. Max needs to be a bit careful, but he doesn't do anything of the like again. We'll see if that is picked up by the marshals there. That was a bit a bit unsafe there from Max Verstappen, and Oscar Piastri wasn't doing anything untoward. Hopefully it won't be the case, because we do want the track and we do want the race to be sorted out on track under racing conditions, and not with dubious decisions under the safety car. But it's undeniable that he did overlap Oscar Piastri there. So we'll see if that is looked into. But safety car in. Safety car is in. We are about to go racing again here at the British Grand Prix at Silverstone. What an unbelievable topsy-turvy race it has been already. We still have 36 laps remaining. We're not even at the halfway point here. Oscar Piastri is your leader with Max Verstappen in P2 with Lando Norris close behind. Lance Stroll is indeed, yes, he is indeed in P4 with Nico Hulkenberg in P5. This is an unbelievable race we have seen here thus far. And I do not believe it is at the end of the drama by any means. As we go racing again here at Silverstone, as Piastri leads them down into turn 16, heads into Val, into Club Corner, through turn 17 and turn 18. That section of the track has been treacherous here this weekend. As you can see, drivers go so slowly through there, trying to find the rear grip, balance the throttle, as they seem to have all made it through there safely. As Hamilton has got come under attack there from George Russell, it seems, through the last corner. So maybe Lewis Hamilton had a bit of a slow getaway there. But Oscar Piastri, as Russell has indeed got past Lewis Hamilton down into turn 1, and Lewis Hamilton now finds himself down in P9 as Hamilton has just got back past Ocon and Russell into turn 3 as Russell then overtakes Ocon. I think Ocon has had a big moment that has hampered George Russell there, who just got past Lewis Hamilton as they went into turn 3. Lewis Hamilton said, "Thank you very much, I'll take that position back." He lost 1 and then gained 2. As I'm watching the replay right now, as I cannot see anything out there at the moment. I cannot see absolutely anything. As yes, George Russell had no idea where Esteban Ocon was, and Hamilton had clear track ahead of him and swooped around the outside. But he is still under attack from George Russell in P8. The visibility out there is still tremendously poor, but it won't last for that much longer. But Oscar Piastri is currently in the ascendancy. He is pulling away from Max Verstappen, as we saw in the stages of this race before the safety car came out. But it's also due to visibility. Max, no doubt, is probably dropping a little bit further behind so that he can genuinely see where he's going, as Isaac Hadjar is off into the entry of Cops Corner, and we have our umpteenth yellow flag of this race already with 18 laps completed. Isaac Hadjar is off. What has happened to Isaac Hadjar? And there's another safety car. And another safety car. Oh my goodness, Isaac Hadjar off into the barriers, no doubt, waiting to see what has occurred. The visibility is still very poor. Of course, the grip is still poor out there as well. It could potentially be wet tyres at the moment. But the sun is out. This track is going to dry. But with very dark clouds in the background, as Hadjar's binned it. No, Isaac Hadjar has properly binned it. And, well, his front right tyre is... it's worse than I thought. It's worse than I thought. Isaac Hadjar is okay, but that's a biggie. That is a biggie for Isaac Hadjar. Will this be a red flag? We will see, because there is a lot of debris there that is going to have to be removed from Isaac Hadjar. I'm waiting to see a replay of what exactly has occurred, as Ocon is now pitting to get off those 18-lap-old intermediate tyres onto a brand new set. What has happened to Isaac Hadjar? The sun is out at Silverstone, but there are very dark clouds in the background. Still waiting for a replay. Did he lose it under his own steam? Did he make contact with someone? But Isaac Hadjar is out of this race. We have lost 3 or arguably 4 of the rookies out on the grid at the moment, if you count Liam Lawson to also still be a full, not yet a full seasoned driver, as he is in his first full season in F1. We've lost Colapinto, Lawson, Bortoletto and Isaac Hadjar, but I'm waiting to see what has occurred. Let's see. They may keep the drivers out there to try and disperse some of this standing water that is currently out there at Silverstone. He is kind of nicely parked in the corner, though, to be honest with you, Isaac Hadjar. But still not able. Right, here we go. Replay of Isaac Hadjar. I'll tell you what, we're on board with him, and you cannot see anything. And he goes into Cop's car. Oh, he's just rear-ended. Oh, this is exactly what we was worried about. He heads into Cop's corner, and he cannot see a thing. And he just completely rear-ends. I think it's the Aston Martin of Alonso, as they went Antonelli. No, he's rear-ended Antonelli down into Cop's corner. And there's nothing that Antonelli could have done. And Isaac Hadjar, well, maybe a little bit of inexperience there. But I tell you what, I'm not going to be too harsh on him, because you could not see a thing. You could only see that Mercedes as he hit it. Unbelievable there. Unbelievable. So Lewis Hamilton, yeah, just watching a replay of him having a bit of a moment out of the last corner. As George Russell did indeed get held up by Esteban Ocon, struggling on those used intermediates. He came through the spray through turn 2, found himself with a roadblock that was a Haas in the form of Esteban Ocon, and Hamilton regained 2 positions and regained that position. So yes, Hadjar fully at fault for that, fully at fault. However, I'm not going to be too harsh on him because that was something that the visibility was impossible there, and that's the worry of these of the FIA, is that these cars, they throw off so much spray, the visibility is so poor, and yeah, unfortunately, the reason we see safety cars, the reason we see red flags is to avoid exact moments like that with Isaac Hadjar and Kimi Antonelli. We'll see if there's any long-lasting damage on the rear of Kimi Antonelli's car. It does seem like that the rear wing is definitely intact, but has the rear of that car, has the rear bodywork been damaged? I'll be very surprised if there hasn't been something that's at least flown off that car, and Antonelli's day could go from bad to worse, as of course he pitted very early on onto those hard compound tyres, and it backfired for him, and well, he's now just been rear-ended by Isaac Hadjar, who is out. So there's a recovery vehicle at turn 9 here. And well, where he is at the moment, Isaac Hadjar, he is in a dangerous place. So hopefully, obviously, the safety car really does slow them up as they head through Copse Corner. The rookie drivers are rookieing, the missus has just told me. Bit harsh, but this is where, of course, the experience really does come to the forefront and really does help you in these conditions. Of course, in Australia, we did see the rookies like Anthony do very well there, but we also saw a number of them get caught out by these conditions, and it seems like that we have seen that today again, so... Oh my goodness, guys. Welcome. Hope you are enjoying the stream. What a chaotic race. We're not even halfway through yet. We still have 33 laps remaining. This is our 4th safety car. Oh, I'll have a rundown on the grid shortly. Thank you everyone for tuning in, by the way. Over 50,000 subscribers. Big thank you. Over 1,500 likes nearly. Over 12,500 of you here in the stream. Big thank you. The British Grand Prix, it always delivers. I know I'm British. I know I'm biased when it comes to these moments here and this circuit, but this is why. This track always provides, because of the weather and because of that. Who's just had a moment there? Someone just had a moment. Was that one of the Aston Martins who just had a bit of an off there, I think? I think that might have been Lance Stroll having a bit of a moment there under the safety car, I think. Or maybe I was seeing things. But Bernd Mailander, yes, most definitely getting his money's worth. He's most definitely getting his money's worth at the moment. At this race, maybe 4 more safety cars in the race. I know, yeah. They're investigating Had even though he couldn't see anything. They have to investigate it, but it's pretty obvious that it's Isaac Hadjar's issue. So, Oscar Piastri, this puddle in turn 2 is a problem at the moment, is what Oscar Piastri said. Let's see what exactly he said in relation to that turn 2 puddle. He's trying to relay something to Bernd Mailander. Let's see what he actually said there. More rain in the next 15 minutes, according to your weather app as well, everyone. Oh, dear. Bernd has got his work cut out for him, even in the safety car, so it's not very nice in an F1 car, Oscar Piastri is stating at the moment. Could we see a red flag? As Antonelli is diving into the pit lane? Is this a retirement for Antonelli? No, he is coming back out. He is on a brand new set of intermediate tyres. So let's see if on the TV coverage if there's any visible damage to the rear of that car. Can't see any. Typical, they show the front of the car, not the rear of the car, to see if we can see any damage. And it does look like that there's a bit of damage to the rear diffuser of that car, but for the most part is intact, considering he got a fair old whack from Isaac Hadjar there, which took Hadjar out of this race. Antonelli is still going in this race, so... sorry, people who saved up to be there today, robbed of any fun. No, well, it's chaotic at least. It's very chaotic, and sometimes that's what people want from an F1 race. I think we'll still see some racing here, of course. We've got a very long way to go. I've got a feeling that we may see a red flag, though. I think we may see a postponement here for the conditions, so we'll see. Can we get going again? Yep, they're just trying to clear at the moment Isaac Hadjar's car. No doubt they're looking at the weather radar as well, if there's more rain on the way. The reason Hadjar's car had a crash in the first place was because of the lack of visibility there. So, I mean, I'm looking at the live images right now, and well, they're throwing off a considerable amount of spray at the moment, so... let's see. Thank you for the 10, by the way. $10, Ashley. Much appreciated. Thank you. And thank you for everyone who's continuing to like and subscribe to this stream. Here we go. We are getting underway. Your wishes have been answered, ladies and gentlemen. Safety car in this lap. As Max Verstappen has just got ahead of Oscar Piastri. Oh, no. What has just occurred there? Max Verstappen, he's already done it once. He's just gone ahead of Oscar Piastri down the Wellington Straight, Hangar Straight. Well, we are back going again. We'll see what happens there, but that is on. As Max Verstappen is off. What has happened to Max Verstappen? Has Max Verstappen rear-ended Oscar Piastri? I don't know. Or is that an issue here? As Max Verstappen is dropping through the field here, as he most definitely did overtake Oscar Piastri under the safety car, but Max Verstappen is falling through the field here. There is noted a safety car infringement for Oscar Piastri. This is a terrible restart here. Oscar Piastri, safety car infringement. Maybe Max Verstappen has got one, but Max is off his spun. Max has spun through the exit of Stowe Corner, and he has fallen through the field here. Max Verstappen is down into P10 after spinning. A very uncharacteristic mistake from Max Verstappen, who was on pole position here today. Piastri is under investigation. I'll tell you what, Piastri could be losing this race as it currently stands. That will be a penalty if he is deemed to be having a safety car infringement. But Max Verstappen has gone round through the exit of Stowe Corner. Ollie Behrman has just overtaken Yuki Tsunoda on this race restart, and he's up into P13. Verstappen regains a position there as Behrman's gone round through Brooklands Corner. He got past Yuki Tsunoda, but he spun the car, and well, another rookie could potentially be biting the dust here today. Behrman has got going again. The visibility is still significantly poor out there at the moment. Oscar Piastri, I think, is being noted for a safety car infringement for potentially being more than 10 car lengths behind the safety car, hence when he slowed up to do the restart. But what that did is that they caught Max Verstappen out. That could have potentially ruined his tyre preparation for the race restart. Maybe frustrated as a result of it, and an uncharacteristic spin out of turn 15 means that Lance Stroll is P3. Lance Stroll is P3. Could Nico Hülkenberg score his first ever podium in F1? He is P4 at this moment in time, as Ocon, on a brand new set of intermediates, gets past Yuki Tsunoda as it currently stands. This is an unbelievable race restart here, as Max Verstappen just completely got caught out by Oscar Piastri. Verstappen said, whoa mate, he's just suddenly again slows down. Well, to be honest, Max, it's up to you to respond to that. He is the leader. He does the pace. And as he was trying to get round there, Max has just gone round. He did very well to control the car. Incident is under investigation. Safety car from Piastri, who leads 3.3 seconds from Lando Norris. There are 5 seconds between Stroll and Lando Norris at this moment in time. Lewis Hamilton finds himself in P6 as Ollie Behrman had a collision there with Yuki Tsunoda. That is being investigated at the moment. We'll see I'll see a replay of that to see exactly what occurred with Ollie Behrman and Yuki Tsunoda. It seemed that Behrman did get past Yuki, but maybe Yuki left his nose in it to try and hold on to that position, as Behrman is all over the rear wing of Yuki again. As I'm watching a replay now, as Max is currently in P10 as it currently stands. Watching it as, yes, it seems that really Yuki Tsunoda just... I think Yuki caught Behrman. Maybe it was Yuki keeping his nose in there. I can't quite see from that camera angle. But let's have a rundown of this grid, shall we? As we have got this race restarted. Still not even halfway through this British Grand Prix with 30 laps remaining of this 52-lap race. Oscar Piastri leads 3.7 seconds ahead of Lando Norris, with him being investigated at the moment for a safety car infringement. There could be a 10-second time penalty coming to Oscar Piastri, which I believe it is at minimum a 5-second time penalty. Lance Stroll finds himself in P3. Yes, your ears and eyes are not deceiving you. Lance Stroll is P3 on merit. Nico Hülkenberg P4 on merit. 14 and 15 positions respectively they have gained at the moment. Pierre Gasly is in P5. Lewis Hamilton finds himself in P6, chasing down Pierre Gasly, with George Russell following closely behind in 7th. Fernando Alonso is in P8 with Carlos Sainz in 9th, with Max Verstappen after that spin under the safety car restart through Stowe has found himself in P10. Alex Albon is up 2 positions in P11. Charles Leclerc, who pitted on the formation lap for a set of medium tyres, finds himself in P12, down 6 places. Ocon is 13th, Tsunoda is 14th, Behrman is 15th, and Antonelli is making his umpteenth stop for the day, and this could be a retirement for Kimi Antonelli. It could be another rookie that bites the dust, and we could have lost. Other than Ollie Behrman, we could potentially see all rookies out of this race today in these conditions. So that is where we are at this moment in time, and Antonelli does seem like that he is retiring from this race. We have lost Antonelli, Hadjar, Bortoletto, Lawson and Colapinto, but the McLarens at the moment are 42.3 last time around for both the McLarens, as there is a 3.4 second gap, a 3.5 second gap to Piastri and Norris. And well, Russell's just got past Lewis Hamilton into Maggotts and Beckett's. George Russell has got past the Ferrari of Lewis Hamilton into Maggotts and Beckett's. We did not expect to see the Mercedes be quicker than the Ferrari here this weekend, let alone in the race. And well, it hasn't really dried up enough. This has been a full wet race here today at the British Grand Prix. There is still a lot of racing to be had here at Silverstone, as Lewis went off through Copse Corner. That is why he lost the position, but you can see there the lead at the top. There's a 10-second time penalty for Oscar Piastri, a safety car infringement. As it currently stands, that would move Oscar Piastri to P4, potentially, no, P2 at the moment, as he is 12.5 seconds ahead of Lance Stroll. And well, that will give potentially Lando Norris the lead. That will give Lando Norris the lead in this race. And well, Lando Norris is on course here to win his home Grand Prix and reduce the lead at the top of the standings to Oscar Piastri, who has a 10-second time penalty at the moment, as Lando pumps in a green first sector of 31.971 for him. He wants to close that gap now on his teammate, or just keep it consistent, as Piastri will have to take that stop and go penalty at the pit stop. That 10-second time penalty could be even more if, of course, they balls up the pit stop, as we've already seen them do from Lando Norris earlier on, losing that P2 position to Max Verstappen. We are still not even halfway through this race yet, ladies and gentlemen, and so much has happened. A confirmation there of Kimi Antonelli in P16 retiring from this race. Unfortunately, an unforced retirement due to him having a collision with Isaac Hadjar, who rammed into the back of him into Copse Corner due to the lack of visibility there. So a real shame for him. But at the moment, it is Piastri who has a 10-second time penalty, 3.6 seconds ahead of his teammate Lando Norris, as Lando is just sitting in that window where the spray is not affecting him, where he can see visibility ahead. As Hamilton reports, this car is hard to drive, mate. It's snappy like crazy. But Oscar Piastri trying to be smart under the race restart that has unfortunately caused him to get a 10-second time penalty, braking too heavily, that caught Max Verstappen out, that potentially led to Max Verstappen spinning on the exit of Stowe Corner under the race restart. But it is Lando behind Oscar Piastri. He will have the net lead as it currently stands, with Lance Stroll 15 seconds behind the two McLarens in P3. Yes, in P3. And well, Stroll and Hülkenberg have a comfortable gap at the moment to Pierre Gasly in P5 and George Russell in P6, guys, as Hülkenberg is trying to get his first ever podium in F1. I think even if you're not a fan of Nico Hülkenberg, we can all get behind the German, the Hulk, to get his first podium in F1. And for it to happen in a stake F1, what an achievement that would be. It would also be his 4th race weekend in a row where he scores points. He's definitely on course to do that at the moment. And what a recent performance, and what a run of performances it has been for Nico Hülkenberg in that stake F1 car. He is doing wonders at the moment, as is, credit where it is due, Lance Stroll. Brilliant strategy call by the team. Lance Stroll, a driver who has excelled in the wet in the past. Most of Lance Stroll's best performances have come in wet conditions, and well, he is doing very well at the moment. Is this the drive that Lance Stroll needs to perform well and to finally see himself get out of Q1? And well, is this Lance Stroll finally performing up to the standards that many who do defend defend him, tell us he can do. As we can see, George Russell coming under attack from Lewis Hamilton into Stowe corner there, and I think Hamilton's regained that position from George Russell into Stowe corner. Pierre Gasly watching in his rearview mirrors at the moment, the red of the Ferrari of Lewis Hamilton and the teal of George Russell in that Mercedes. As Pierre Gasly, I think, maybe just had a little moment for the last corner there. No, it was a little delay on the track map as Hamilton still holds on to that position from George Russell. I think they had a bit of a moment through the last couple of corners, but at the moment, 4 seconds is the gap to Piastri and Norris. Of course, Norris wants to keep that gap as close as possible so that he knows he is going to be able to maximise the lead when the pit stop, the eventual 10-second penalty, is taken by Piastri. There is most definitely more pit stops here. There are 26 laps remaining. We are now officially at the halfway mark of this 52-lap race. As we have been told by the engineer of Lando Norris there, Will, that Oscar Piastri has a 10-second time penalty, so we will follow him on track at the moment. It is just a waiting game for Lando Norris. Keep the car intact, stay within that window, and then push when you are in clean air, no doubt. Who knows what can still happen in this race? We have seen so much in the first 26 laps. Will it be as eventful for the remaining 26 laps? I'm not so sure, but never say never, especially with rain still in the air surrounding Silverstone Circuit. What a track this is for this very reason. The intermittent weather that we can get here, and also the fact that it is a beautiful circuit for these drivers to be racing around. So many good corners, so many opportunities for overtaking, even in these wet weather conditions, as Lewis Hamilton could be making an overtake right now into P5 on Pierre Gasly, down into turn 15. The good friends who play Call of Duty in their spare time, well, they won't be friends now, as Pierre Gasly will be looking to hold on to a great top 5 position in that Alpine. And well, if there's any condition that the Alpine can hold off a Ferrari, it is the conditions right now, especially with George Russell, who has been over the rear wing of Lewis Hamilton for some laps, but is starting to fall a little bit behind. We can't be that long away from these intermediate tyres coming to the end of their life as well. They have done 17, 18 laps, some drivers now, on these intermediate tyres, and well, with no further rain out there at the moment, we are starting to see a significant line start to form out on track, but there are still enough wet areas. It is still slippery enough for these intermediates to probably be staying cool, but for how much longer, I can't imagine it would be for too long. But Piastri, 3.6 seconds is the gap to Lando. Piastri is probably just full tilt at the moment in that McLaren, trying to build as much of a gap up as he possibly can. It's all of his own doing. Lance Stroll still in P3. He's formed a little bit of a gap on Nico Hulkenberg now. That gap to 1.6 seconds. Pierre Gasly and Lewis Hamilton closest out on track. It's actually the two Ferraris who are closest to the drivers ahead of him out on track at the moment, with Leclerc down in P12 in the DRS of Alex Albon, but no DRS activated at the moment, as Piastri is informed of a 10-second time penalty for the safety car. And there is no response to that by Oscar Piastri, I believe. Oscar Piastri not responding to that message that he's been receiving a 10-second time penalty. There's a 10-second time penalty for Yuki Tsunoda as well for causing a collision. It was a much better weekend for him in qualifying, but the race, he has gone backwards. He is currently 15th, the last of the runners, as Gasly and Hamilton go side by side through Stowe corner, and Gasly holds on to the position as they head down into Val. Hamilton trying to get back into the top 5 and make progression in this race in a tricky Ferrari that he's complaining is very snappy on the rear. But as we move further down the grid, an update on Max Verstappen at the moment. He's complaining about his car being very difficult to drive, and that's something that we expected would be the case when it came to these wet conditions. They gambled on a very strong dry setup that secured him pole position yesterday in tremendous fashion, but the last thing they would have wanted to see today was wet conditions, and unfortunately we have had all manner of wet conditions today at Silverstone, and well, he has unfortunately spun due to that under that safety car restart, which has meant he is now down in 10th place, and well, his championship contentions, if there was any opportunity, an outside opportunity for him to remain in this championship battle where he was over 2 race wins behind that of Oscar Piastri already heading into this weekend, he is going to be at the moment only securing 1 point to Oscar Piastri, who will probably secure P2 with a 10-second time penalty to his teammate But Lando Norris, he's just biding his time at the moment. 3.7 seconds to Oscar Piastri. He's been told to hold station out there. The McLarens, we knew they were going to be quick, and we knew they were going to be quick, particularly in these wet conditions if we saw them. And well, Oscar Piastri and Norris have just showcased that with the balance that they've got in that car, in any condition, they are the team to beat. Lance Stroll in third place at the moment. That's a 1.5 second gap to Hulkenberg at the moment, seeking his first podium here in Silverstone. Go on, Hulkenberg, you can do it. Secure your first podium position. I'm not very biased when it comes to commentating, guys, but I am fully behind Nico Hulkenberg trying to score his first podium ever in F1 today, as Pierre Gasly has got overtaken by Lewis Hamilton down into Val corner. As you can see him significantly slow there, putting him into the clutches of George Russell, who's close behind, and Lewis has finally dispatched the Alpine of Pierre Gasly and is up into P5. And well, as much as I'd love to see a Lewis Hamilton podium position today, I think I would much prefer to see Nico Hulkenberg. But we'll see how Hamilton can fare in that car, in that Ferrari, which has been struggling. Currently a 3.7 second gap to Nico Hulkenberg at the moment. Let's see how he makes progression now in a little bit of clean air and see if he can catch the Stake F1 car of Nico Hulkenberg. We have 23 laps remaining in this race. And, well, who knows what can happen. We could still have another safety car. There could be another bunch up off the field. And, well, that could negate, of course, Oscar Piastri's 10-second time penalty at the moment. As I'm watching the replay, it was an easy overtake for Lewis Hamilton. Very fair and respectful between Pierre Gasly. Gasly also knows that's not really his race here this weekend with the Ferrari, nor will it really particularly be with George Russell close behind. It will be with Fernando Alonso, who is following the Mercedes very closely there, trying to capitalise on maybe George Russell, forcing the Frenchman out of position. But an update on the gap at the lead. Well, it seems that Oscar Piastri has just lost a couple of attempts on the last lap to Lando Norris, a 42.6 to a 42.8. And, well, as he crosses the line now, it's another 42.8 for Piastri, but a 42.4 for Lando Norris. Piastri gaining 4 attempts there on that lap, even though he has been told to hold station and just follow Oscar at this moment in time, with that 10-second time penalty incumbent for him. As we move down the grid, it is currently Piastri P1 with Norris P2 with Lance Stroll in P3. Hulkenberg is 4th, being chased down by Lewis Hamilton, but Hamilton has just lost a bit of time on Nico Hulkenberg, actually, as Hulkenberg has decided to put on maybe a little bit of the afterburners, use some of that battery, as he is closing in significantly on Lance Stroll here. He is 7 tenths behind Lance Stroll, and, well, maybe Stroll had a bit of a moment out of the last corner, but I think that's pure pace by Nico Hulkenberg. Maybe drop back a little bit to look after his tyres out of the dirty air of Lance Stroll, and, well, he is now within that 1 second range. No DRS yet at the moment, of course, with the track still too slippery out there, still too wet. It is all about the pace of the car. It is all about the drivability. It is all about the driver's talents out there in these conditions, trying to find the grip, trying to utilise the machinery underneath them to the best of their advantage. But you can see Hulkenberg there just loses a little bit under throttle, under rear traction out of turn 7. And Lance Stroll is able to just build, importantly, a 1 second gap as they make their way through Copse Corner. But Lewis Hamilton not gaining at this stage on Nico Hulkenberg and Lance Stroll. That gap staying at around 3.9 seconds. Piastri is starting to lose significant time, particularly through the middle sector. A 42.6 there. Lando has just gained half a second on Piastri in that middle sector alone. Norris doesn't even need to do anything here. He just has to wait for his teammate to pit, which, looking at those lap times from Oscar Piastri, is probably not too far away. Well, I say that. He is still the second fastest driver out there, only second to his teammate. They are lapping still around a full second a lap quicker than the rest of the field at the moment. That is how good the McLarens are at this stage. Oscar is a smart boy. He knows really that it's just about P2 now after receiving that 10-second time penalty, and ensuring that he can pit into a gap that, even with a safety car, would mean that he could slot in behind his teammate, and then anything is still possible with 21 laps remaining. Nico Hulkenberg back in the 1 second range behind Lance Stroll, but Lewis Hamilton starting to close down that gap. 3.6 seconds is the gap now compared to Hulkenberg and Stroll. They both did 43.8 and a 44.0 for Hulkenberg and Lance Stroll, and, well, Lewis Hamilton did a 43.5, so Hamilton 43.5, so he is starting to close that gap. Slightly younger tyres as well, a couple of laps younger, but I can't imagine it's going to be long until we start to see pit stops being made as the track is starting to dry up more. There is blue sky around. There are pockets of blue sky. As Lance Stroll confirms, the track is starting to dry now. Temps are coming up on the track, or that's what the engineer has informed Lance Stroll, and you can visually see that with the sun starting to come out. A line is starting to form, but it's definitely too early for the slick tyre, that is for sure. But Nico Hulkenberg has a great run here through Maggots and Beckett's. He's all under the rear wing of Lance Stroll. Can he get the exit out of turn 13, out of Beckett's? Here we go. Let's see. Without DRS, does he have the pace? He's got a much better exit on Lance Stroll here. We could see some side-by-side action between the two green cars, two different shades. And Nico Hulkenberg, unfortunately, just doesn't quite have enough with that configuration on the Mercedes power unit that is in that Aston Martin at the moment. And Lance Stroll holds on just for now, but he is under full pressure from Nico Hulkenberg, as Hulkenberg has been gaining a little bit through this first sector on Lance Stroll through the previous laps. Let's see if that is a pattern that continues here, as he is less than half a second behind Lance Stroll. Could we see maybe a move down into Brooklands, as the gap last time around with Piastri and Norris is slightly quicker, but he is holding station with that 10-second time penalty incumbent. As we can see, Hulkenberg is even closer than he was before. 4 tenths behind Lance Stroll. Lewis Hamilton 2.6 seconds behind now. As you can see, that interval time is highlighted by Lewis Hamilton. That means he is gaining on the car ahead as well. Nico Hulkenberg is most definitely gaining. He's 3 tenths behind Stroll. Could we see him go for the move down into turn 6? Does he have enough battery deployment at the moment? No, he does not. He cannot get close enough to even get alongside Stroll into turn 6. Stroll doing very well. Just enough in that Aston Martin at the moment. But what this is doing is allowing the Ferrari of Lewis Hamilton to close in on this battle for the last podium position, with the McLaren so far ahead, currently a 3 pit stop ahead of this battle for P3. They are clearly above the rest, just like they were in the Red Bull Ring in these conditions. As Piastri reports, it's drying, but very slowly, still not close to slicks. And I agree, obviously, he's out there, he's in the cockpit, he feels it. But from a visual standpoint, from outside, looking at the TV coverage, there's no way near a dry line at the moment to go onto slick tyres. Still very much too wet out there. But we can see Hulkenberg is close again as Lando Norris sets the fastest last sector on his teammate. That gap nearly down to 2 seconds at the moment, as Piastri maybe just not pushing and just trying to extend this stint as it currently stands, as his race has completely flipped on its head for the win here. He would have loved to have got a return to sender on his teammate who won Piastri's home race at the start of this year. He would have loved to have won Norris's home race, but it doesn't seem like that is going to be the case with that safety car infringement, which has been awarded him a 10-second time penalty. But Nico Hulkenberg, this battle for P3, as Lewis has gained even more last time around, of 42.5. He's just gained 1.3 seconds in the last lap, Lewis Hamilton, and you can see that interval time is reducing in every single corner that Lewis Hamilton is taking right now, as Hulkenberg cannot get past Lance Stroll. You do suspect that Hulkenberg is the quicker car at this moment in time compared to the two of them, but he cannot get enough out of Lance Stroll in that dirty air. He cannot get past him down the start-finish race. And unfortunately, it does seem like with Lewis Hamilton 1 second now behind Nico Hulkenberg, it is a matter of time before Hamilton dispatches not just Hulkenberg, but probably Lance Stroll as well, in a much quicker Ferrari here this weekend. But it's still an absolute valiant effort from both Lance Stroll and Nico Hulkenberg, who are currently up 14 and 15 positions. But of course, never say never, as DRS has now been enabled. DRS has been enabled, so the track is dry enough for DRS. That is very interesting. Normal grip conditions has been informed there to us by race control. So that is going to leave Lance Stroll vulnerable. This is it for Nico Hulkenberg. Can he get into P3? DRS is open on Lance Stroll. He's been stuck behind the pacey Aston Martin in a straight line for some time. They're side by side into Stowe Corner, and Hulkenberg is up into P3. And well, if the race was to end here with 18 laps remaining, Hulkenberg would score his first podium position ever. And I'll tell you what, can Hulkenberg, in clean air now, make a breakaway here from potentially Lance Stroll and Lewis Hamilton? Can Lance Stroll be a thorn in Lewis Hamilton's side here? And could Nico Hulkenberg run away from the Ferrari behind. As you can see, Lewis Hamilton all over the rear wing of Lance Stroll. I think he's going to get him under braking into turn 3. He is indeed, as Lewis Hamilton is up into P4. He's ahead of Lance Stroll. And well, Lewis Hamilton now will be fully focused on securing a record-breaking 12th podium in a row at Silverstone. He has never finished off the podium in the last 11 years here at the Silverstone circuit, at the British Grand Prix. And well, he has an unbelievable record here, but can Nico Hülkenberg potentially score his first podium here? What an unbelievable result that would be for him. Let's see if that Ferrari of Lewis Hamilton has the pace of Nico Hülkenberg, has the better of that Stake F1 car, which is no longer a green tractor. It's a Lamborghini now, guys. It's transformed. It's had an evolution over the last few races, and it is now worthy of potentially scoring a podium here today at the British Grand Prix. We will stay close to that battle as further down the grid we can see that Pierre Gasly is still holding up George Russell. George Russell coming unstuck behind the Alpine of Pierre Gasly at the moment. But will he be able to dispatch him with DRS now activated? We will see. Further down, an update on Max Verstappen as he spun from second place on the safety car restart. He's down in 9th place at the moment, complaining about his car. We knew it would be tricky in these conditions, and he currently finds himself in P9 trying to chase down Fernando Alonso in P8 and catch up to that battle for P6 as it currently stands, with George Russell still not able to get past the Alpine into turn 15 Stowe corner or into turn 17 there through the last couple of corners, as that gap to Hamilton and Nico Hülkenberg currently sits at 1.3 seconds, 1.2 seconds. Hamilton most definitely has the pace on Hülkenberg in the first sector alone at the moment. You can see the sector times there last time out. Pretty neck and neck between the Ferrari of Hamilton and Nico Hülkenberg. An update on the leaders, guys. You can see Piastri, if you're just tuning in, welcome, by the way. Over 16,000 viewers in the stream right now, by the way. Hit that like button and continue to hit the subscribe button. Over 50,000 subscribers we hit this stream alone. So big, big thank you. That just shows how this community has grown and how many of you have subscribed this stream alone as well. As Nico Hülkenberg, yes, in P3. Piastri and Norris, just under 2 seconds is the gap now to Piastri and Norris. Piastri did get a safety car infringement. That exact safety car restart where Max Verstappen lost control of his car. Piastri was too harsh on the brakes. He fell too far behind the safety car, and well, he has picked up a 10-second time penalty for his troubles there, which means that Norris just needs to bide his time. But maybe this might be Piastri's game. Force his teammate into a battle that he doesn't need to get involved in. Norris just needs to be patient and follow his teammate as they have a comfortable gap to those behind. But of course, if there is a safety car, anything could still happen with those positions swapping. But Hülkenberg now under full attack from Lewis Hamilton as he is within that 1 second gap of Nico Hülkenberg. Unfortunately for Hülkenberg, you do think this is a matter of time, but Hülkenberg is no pushover. He is an experienced driver. As Lewis has a bit of a moment through club corner. 1.5 seconds is the gap now. He was under 9 tenths to Nico Hülkenberg, and that gap has just shot straight back out to 1.3 seconds. Lewis Hamilton 1.2 seconds back from Nico Hülkenberg. He could have potentially gone for a move down on into turn 3 on this very lap, but he had a bit of moment in the dirty air. As Hamilton is asked for track conditions when you can. The track is pretty decent. It's starting to dry up a bit. That is a confident Lewis Hamilton right now. Complaining about the car earlier on, but he is on full attack. He smells a podium here. And, well, let's see what he can achieve. Never say never with safety cars and so forth, as well as we have seen a very, very up and down race here today. It's been a bit quiet this second half of this race, as kind of, I guess, is always the case when you lose 5 drivers from this race in the early stages. And you lose Max Verstappen from the race lead as well, as he is now down in 9th place, closing that gap down to Fernando Alonso 2 seconds further back. George Russell still stuck behind Pierre Gasly, but Lance Stroll looks like he is going to be securing a top 5 here today, guys. 12 positions up at the moment as Piastri just pumps in the fastest lap of the race of 40.3, 5 tenths quicker than his teammate, but it's not quick enough to pull out a 10-second gap, that's for sure, on his teammate in equal machinery. No, it does seem like that Lando Norris is definitely in a good position here with 15 laps remaining to win his first ever back-to-back races in F1 and his first ever home race at Silverstone. So he is, of course, wanting to keep that car intact with 15 laps remaining. Nico Hülkenberg now fully under pressure. It seems that with the dirty air thrown off that Stake F1 car at the moment, Hülkenberg is just holding off enough of Lewis Hamilton as Alonso pits. Okay, here we go. We wondered when it would be and what tyre will it be for Fernando Alonso. Is there still another turn, another twist in this story, in this race today? What tyre will Fernando Alonso come out on? Is there more rain in the air? This will be very telling if he comes out on a slick tyre or whether he comes out on a intermediate. If it's an intermediate, then it means that there is potentially more rain in the air. Let's see what tyre he comes out on. And Alonso is on the medium. Oh, bold strategy call here from Fernando Alonso. Will it pay off? Let's see. It's going to take him a few laps to get these tyres up to temperature. Everyone now, every single set of eyes on that pit wall at Silverstone will be fixated on those sector times of Fernando Alonso. That is what they'll be looking at right now. He has some clean track ahead of him. How quick can he go? How long will it take for those tyres to come up to temperature? That's what they will be fixated on right now. Let's see. As Russell is saying, depends how brave you want to be here. We're running P7 is what George Russell has set. And they reported back to him brave, but not suicidal. We're still looking, is what George Russell's engineer has been reported back to him as Lando Norris has a return to sender of fastest laps as Alonso there on that medium compound tyre, struggling to get it up to temperature on his outlap, gets overtaken by Yuki Tsunoda on used intermediates. So Alonso struggling to get those tyres up to temperature at the moment as he's just been overtaken by Tsunoda. But let's keep an eye out and see how quick he can go on them. If he can go quicker at all, will this track dry up? As Russell does dive into the pit lane. George Russell with the Hail Mary. He's in no man's land, as he said, in P7. Let's take a gamble. What have we got to lose? Let's see what he will be able to do. Is there more rain incoming? 14 laps remaining here. Piastri leading from Lando Norris with a 10-second time penalty. So in effect, Lando Norris is your net leader and potentially winning his home Grand Prix for the first time ever. Nico Hülkenberg fighting. Yes, Nico Hülkenberg, after starting 19th, yes, you heard that correctly, after starting 19th, is fighting Lewis Hamilton in the Ferrari for his first ever podium in F1. Now, I'm a Lewis Hamilton fan, you viewers. However, I am rooting for Nico Hülkenberg right here. How can you not be? How can you not be rooting for Nico Hülkenberg to score his first podium after starting bloody 19th? As much as I'm a fan of Lewis Hamilton, this would be an unbelievable performance by Nico Hülkenberg. Even if he finishes P4, it's still an unbelievable performance. But we want that podium for him. He so deserves it. But at the moment, he is holding off Lewis Hamilton, but there's still a long way to go in this race, with 13 laps remaining, as Lando Norris is closing up ever more to Oscar Piastri at the moment. Is this maybe a potential tactic for Oscar Piastri? Back up your teammate. Give him some more dirty air. He may have a moment. He may have an off. Then you dive straight into the pit lane, and it's a lot closer with that 10-second time penalty that he'll have to take at the next pit stop. If he even takes it at all, that is, we will see. As there's a yellow flag, as George Russell's gone off, through Maggots and Beckett's, he went onto the hard compound tyres, and well, the team said to him, we're brave but not suicidal, and well, George Russell is going after an off through Maggots and Beckett's. So the slick tyre most definitely not working at this moment in time. Alonso's first sector time last time around was a 34.1 compared to that of those ahead who are doing 32s or in the top 5, 31s at the moment. As Lewis Hamilton is losing ground to Nico Hülkenberg at the moment. He's 2 seconds behind the Hulk as it currently stands. Hulk in that clean air, faring much better than Lewis Hamilton and actually pulling away at the moment. As Sainz says, that was completely reckless by Leclerc with a send on him down into turn 3, but we can see there that Oscar Piastri is really is he struggling? As, oh my goodness, it wasn't just a moment for George Russell. He completely lost control of the car. He decided to go ice skating through Maggots and Beckett's. He just turned in onto the wet stuff, onto the curb, and those hard compound tyres just have no grip. And he went, thankfully, just straight through the actual complex of corners itself. He's just said it's much wetter than before. I don't think so. I think you just went over the curb a bit too much, to be perfectly honest with you. But that is that. Max Verstappen now. Well, he finds himself in P7. He looks like he's going to be potentially overtaking his former teammate Pierre Gasly in the Alpine to get up into P6. Of course, it's not the race that Max Verstappen wanted. We know that that car is much better in drier conditions than it is in wet, hence that brilliant pole position yesterday that Max Verstappen had, but at the moment he is in a position that he does not want to be in. Lando Norris, though, last time around, a fastest lap for him, sticking at the 1.4 second range to his teammate. If they go to the end of this race, there'll just be a 10-second time penalty added to that of the overall race time to Oscar Piastri, which would demote him to P2, and Oscar Piastri, Lando Norris will get this race win. There is a 32-second gap to, of course, Nico Hülkenberg, so that 10-second gap is not going to affect Oscar Piastri here in relation to losing more points. That gap, at the moment, the championship standings would mean that Lando Norris would gain another 7 points on Oscar Piastri at the top of the standings. And well, that would mean that there would be only a gap at the, as it currently stands, of 8 points. Yeah, it would be 8 points. It would be 8 points that would be go to at the top of the leaderboard. Not too bad after 22 points heading into Austria last time around, but that is what you need when you're fighting a very super consistent driver like Oscar Piastri, as he finds himself in P1 at the moment. But of course, all his own doing when it came to that safety car infringement where he was overzealous under braking. But an update on this podium battle fight with Nico Hülkenberg and Lewis Hamilton. With 11 laps remaining, Lewis Hamilton is 2.2 seconds behind Nico Hülkenberg. Now, is this Lewis struggling, or is this as Lewis has pitted? Lewis is in the pits. So, Lewis Hamilton deciding to pit here. That will promote Lance Stroll up into P4. It will promote Max Verstappen. And, well, they think with the conditions of the track at the moment that there could be the potential for slick tyres. Lance Stroll's also pitting as well. Let's see what Nico Hülkenberg does. They have a lap to react here, the Stake F1 team. Do they hold on to track position? Or do they decide to pit and respond to Lewis Hamilton? Big moment here for Nico Hülkenberg and Stake F1. They've been absolutely brilliant on their strategy. It's why he finds himself up 16 positions into P3 at this moment in time. But what are they going to do? We will see. What are the McLarens going to do? They've got a free pit stop as well. Will they decide to pit Oscar Piastri out of the way of Lando Norris with that 10-second time penalty? Let's see how it occurs. But at the moment, Nico Hülkenberg is waiting to see as Lewis Hamilton comes out onto a set of soft compound tyres. Now, we've seen from George Russell already that you need to be super careful out there, as there we go. The track is drying as Alonso has just gone purple in the last sector. George Russell went purple just before it. And here we go. This is the changeover. This is the switchover right now onto the slicks, as we can see Verstappen's on the slicks, Gasly's on the slicks, Sainz, Behrman. They've got to pit, surely, Nico Hülkenberg at the moment. Piastri and Norris have plenty of time with 10 laps remaining to do what they want, as Norris sets another fastest lap of the race. But Nico Hülkenberg, what are they going to do? You've got to respond, surely. There's currently over a 20-second gap. Yes, Nico Hülkenberg pits. This is the moment. A solid pit stop. They've been only second best to Ferrari when it comes to the fastest pit stops, as Leclerc has actually found himself up into P4 at the moment. As we can see, Fernando Alonso, now on 5-lap-old warm medium compound tyres, sets the fastest first sector there, but still only level playing with that of Piastri and Norris, who are on a set of used intermediate tyres at the moment. But Nico Hülkenberg, there's a yellow. Who just went off? Another driver went off through Maggots and Beckett's there on a brand new set of tyres. I think it might have been Ollie Behrman. As we can see that Nico Hülkenberg, what happened with Lewis Hamilton? I think Lewis Hamilton's had a moment into turn 3 as under braking. Yes, so Lewis Hamilton out of the pit lane into turn 3, massively locked up, and well, he went through, and that's why he is now down, is now at currently 10 seconds behind Nico Hülkenberg. And Nico Hülkenberg is on for scoring points here. He just needs to build these medium compound tyres into the right window as Piastri dives into the pit lane, and that will give Lando Norris the lead of this race. There will be a 10-second penalty here for Oscar Piastri, which will remove him from the lead of this race as Lance Stroll goes fastest in the first sector, a 31.2 from him on that soft compound tyre. It was a little bit of a slow stop for Nico Hülkenberg, a 4.6 second stop, but thankfully for him, Lewis Hamilton had that moment, but he is absolutely charging right now, Lewis Hamilton. He had that moment through the first sector. He is on the soft compound tyre, and he potentially tastes a podium here. 30.6 for Fernando Alonso in that first sector. So yes, definitely slicks right now. Lando Norris will be pitting as I think Lando, there was a yellow flag from Lando down into Luffield there. No, it's Esteban Ocon. Esteban Ocon has had a moment into Luffield. He is also on his outlap as well. So these drivers struggling on their outlaps with these cold tyres through the wet patches, and they're bringing out yellow flags, but thankfully no safety cars late on here at this race. As Nico Hülkenberg, that's like it. That's more like it for Nico. A 26.0, the fastest last sector out of anyone there in response to Lewis Hamilton. But Lewis Hamilton says, I see you and I'm chasing you, with a 25.7 purple and a purple lap from Lewis Hamilton. But Lance Stroll removes that from Lewis Hamilton by 3 tenths. So it is fully honest. Another yellow flag there as I think Verstappen and Gasly potentially went off as they were tangling through turn 17. Not entirely sure what happened there. There's a yellow flag. Is there debris, or is it Charles Leclerc? I think Charles Leclerc has had a spin through Stowe Corner. Charles Leclerc has spun through Stowe Corner a la Max Verstappen earlier on. And well, is that the two? Oh no, Ollie Behrman and Esteban Ocon collided. So whoever had a bet that Esteban Ocon would collide with his teammate at least once this season, well, and that's also all Esteban Ocon. He locked up on the inside. He has done it. He has collided. He has a 100% record as Lando Norris dives into the pit lane. He will be in the lead, but Esteban Ocon has a 100% record of colliding with every single teammate he has had with F1. So well done, Esteban Ocon. Oscar Piastri sets the fastest last sector, and there you go. That is confirmation that Lando Norris, with that 10-second time penalty, with 8 laps remaining that Oscar Piastri gained from a safety car infringement, the last safety car that we saw, he is now in P2, and Lando Norris will be closing down the championship standings to 7 points to 8 points on Oscar Piastri by gaining another 7 points today. 25 to 18 points is the difference from first place to second place. All Oscar Piastri's own doing. But let's have an update on Nico Hülkenberg and Lewis Hamilton there. And you can see Lewis Hamilton is on a charge. 8 tenths quicker last time around. But does he have enough laps remaining? There are 8 laps remaining. He needs to gain considerably more than 1 second per lap to have an opportunity of attacking Hülkenberg on the last lap as it currently stands. But Hamilton, if there's a track that he can do it, it's here. But Nico Hülkenberg, what a fairy tale this would be if he could secure his first podium in F1 after starting 19th of all positions. Max Verstappen is effing and blinding on the radio at how difficult his car is to drive, as he is currently in P6 at the moment. Of course, he had that spin earlier from P2 under that safety car restart, as Alonso is in P8. There's an incident involving Behrman and Ocon, which we noted down into turn 6. It was completely Esteban Ocon's fault, in my personal opinion, but we'll see what the stewards deem of that. They do have damage. I don't know if it was from Esteban Ocon's car or the Haas of Ollie Behrman, but yes, the teammates collided there as Hülkenberg has set a fastest middle sector there of 38.2 from him as he is trying to hold off Lewis Hamilton. He actually went quicker than Lewis in the first sector, but Lewis responds with a purple in the middle, but Lewis is losing ground on Nico Hülkenberg, not gaining. So 7 seconds is a very tall order for Lewis to keep this unbelievable record of 11 races in a row, as Leclerc and Sainz have been noted for causing another collision. So that's why they went off, as Piastri lost considerable amount of time and had a big moment, by the way, through Maggots and Beckett's. Very, very well held from Oscar Piastri. As I'm watching a replay of Oscar as he went through Maggots and Beckett's, and it was a big moment. Oh my goodness, that was so scary. Oscar Piastri nearly did exactly what George Russell did, except he held control of the car. That could have been Oscar Piastri out of this race, the speed that he was entering Maggots and Beckett's there. So very, very well done. But yes, Lando Norris currently P1, leading 4 seconds ahead of Oscar Piastri at the moment. He needs to just look after his car, of course, with 7 laps remaining, 6 laps once they cross the start-finish line. As there is a Lando Norris message on the radio, which I will relay to you very shortly. But Hulkenberg is at the moment leading 6.7 seconds from Lewis Hamilton with 7 laps remaining, or 6 laps remaining when Lando Norris crosses the start-finish line. It's been an absolutely chaotic British Grand Prix here, guys. If you've enjoyed it, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Let's get to 51,000 subscribers, can we? What amazing achievement that would be after hitting 50,000 today, as there's nearly 20,000 of you in here, over 17,000 viewers right at this moment in time, as Lewis Hamilton continuing to chase. He will chase to the checkered flag, purple again in the middle sector. But let's have a rundown of this grid, shall we? As we have Lando Norris with around nearly 5 laps remaining. Lando Norris leads from Oscar Piastri after that 10-second time penalty. Nico Hulkenberg in P3 fighting. He's 6 seconds being chased down by Lewis Hamilton at Lewis's track. He could score his first ever podium in F1 from starting in 19th position. Unbelievable, after starting 20th last time out as well. Lewis Hamilton in P4, trying to keep that run of 12 races in a row at the British Grand Prix of being a minimum on the podium. Lance Stroll up 12 positions as well. He's going to be scoring in the top 5 as he's got a 7-second lead over Max Verstappen in P6, who had that spin through Stowe Corner on the safety car restart and has struggled in that low downforce setup. It's so good in the dry, but not very good in the wet. Pierre Gasly in P7 at the moment, it seems. It indicates there that he's a lap down, so I'm not entirely sure what is happening there with that timing tower. As Fernando Alonso is in P8, Alex Albon is in P9, George Russell is in P10, Ollie Behrman P11, Carlos Sainz is in P12 with Esteban Ocon in P13, Charles Leclerc is 14th with Yuki Tsunoda in 15th. Antonelli is a retirement, as is Isaac Hadjar, Bortoletto, Lawson and Colapinto as well. As the track map is deciding to have a bit of a moment in the last couple of stages of this race here. But you can see that the drivers are making their way round to Stowe Corner. We have 6 laps remaining as it currently stands. The track map is a little bit behind here, so I'm just going to reload the track map, but you can see that the timing tower will still be where it is. Seems to be a slight delay with the data. Apologies there. Let's get that back. Always good, isn't it? There we go. So Lando Norris leads with 5 laps remaining as it currently stands to Oscar Piastri in the closing stages of this race. We can see that Lewis Hamilton is not able to close up on Nico Hulkenberg at the moment. It does seem to be that Nico Hulkenberg, the track map is a little bit behind when it comes to what is occurring out on track at the moment. No further investigation with Sainz and Leclerc. Big thank you, guys, yes, for everyone who has continued to subscribe, nearly at 51,000 subscribers. Big thank you. What did Hamilton do in the second sector? Had a little bit of a moment, 7 seconds back. What we're seeing from these from everyone out there at the moment is that Baggett's and Beckett's, if you touch the curb, it is very, very difficult out there. We are seeing big moments, and well, this is what Lando Norris needs to ensure he does. He's got a 6-second lead over Oscar Piastri and just needs to keep that car intact as it currently stands, because he'll be winning for the first time in his F1 career back-to-back races. Nico Hulkenberg, though, 7.1 seconds to Lewis Hamilton, 7.2 seconds to Lewis Hamilton as it currently stands. The closest drivers out there on track at the moment is Max Verstappen and Pierre Gasly, the former teammates. Max is actually coming under attack from Pierre Gasly. He could be having a fight with his former teammate in the closing stages of this race. Albon goes fastest in the first sector, but Norris sets the fastest lap of this race at 29.7. No longer do you get a bonus fastest lap point anymore. As Oscar Piastri is told, we're not doing any team orders, it's just laps until the end. As I think that's the right decision. No team orders for switching positions of Norris and Piastri, as it was not the team's fault for the reason as to why Oscar Piastri ended up getting a safety car infringement. It was purely the driver within the cockpit. So yes, totally right in my personal opinion, and that is McLaren making a good team call for once. But we can see, moving down the grid, Pierre Gasly is closing in on Verstappen with that DRS. Ollie Behrman trying to score a point here. He got a 10-place grid penalty, started 18th, of course, earlier on. He is the last rookie out there at the moment, Ollie Behrman. He's had spins, he's made contact with his teammate, and yet he is still potentially going to be overtaking George Russell for the last point here at Silverstone at his home Grand Prix. Unbelievable. Oscar did serve his penalty. He served it at the last pit stop, so it is currently, the interval times are as they are. The gaps are the gaps as it currently stands. Nico Hülkenberg 6.3 seconds, 6.2 seconds ahead of Lewis Hamilton with 4 laps remaining. You do hope that he does have enough here to hold on to this. Lewis Hamilton does not have enough. And he doesn't have enough laps remaining. 3 laps remaining as Lando Norris makes his way around the last corner now, across the start-finish line. Lando Norris, 3 laps remaining for him to win his first ever British Grand Prix, his home race with his grandstands that are currently situated on the outside of Stowe Corner, turn 15, and also his first time ever in F1 to win back-to-back races. Something, consistency, that he has to do. That's something that we, of course, have... He's been ridiculed for is his mistakes, his lack of consistency, and well, he is proving, while yes, a little bit of help from his teammates, he is still massively in this championship and has closed down that gap from 22 points, or will do, with a couple of laps remaining, to 7 points. Hopefully it's not a commentator's curse there. But yes, guys, big thank you everyone tuning in. Over 2,000 likes. Big thank you. Track map seems to be a little bit behind at the moment in these closing stages of this race, but we can see the intervals and see that the drivers are making their way through the sectors at the moment. And well, yes, Lando leading. Hülkenberg 5.5 seconds, 5.4 seconds. Hamilton starting to close significantly in the closing stages of this race, but he is going to fall short of those laps. He was a full second quicker last time out, but he needed to do that for around 10 laps prior to where he currently is at the moment. Carlos Sainz, lap time deleted for him. We are still seeing drivers exceed the track limits here due to the slippery nature of some of the areas of this circuit, particularly Maggots and Beckett's, as Behrman is all over the rear of George Russell. Can he score that last point? What a result it would be for him. Oscar Piastri, fastest lap of the race, at 29.686. Probably an angry man behind that wheel at the moment. I imagine he'll be a man of few words when it comes to the cool-down room. Stay tuned, guys. We're going to take everything in and take stock of what has actually occurred in this race, because there's so much that happened within the first 15 laps of this race. I need to go back and jog my memory. And it, of course, it's been influential on how this race has panned out as Lando Norris leads. We're on the penultimate lap of this race from Oscar Piastri at his home race. Nico Hülkenberg is about to score. I'm not saying it just yet. He's on course. He's on course to score his first podium in F1 history. He's currently in P3, 5.2 seconds ahead of Lewis Hamilton. Lance Stroll, P5 at the moment. A great result from him if he can hold off the charging Max Verstappen, who is 7 tenths behind him at the moment on a very quick dry setup with this track now being a dry race. This is what Max would have liked at the start of this race, but unfortunately he didn't get it. The gamble of hoping the weather would hold off for them didn't pay off, as Verstappen has actually got past Lance Stroll, it seems, down into turn 3, and Lance Stroll, I think, maybe has had a bit of a moment. You can see there on the track map, but yes, Stroll going deep into turn 3, and Max has got into P5. Lance Stroll was in P6, and well, Lance Stroll personally, I think, deserved that P5, but it is not the case. As we are on the final lap of this race, as Lando Norris makes his way around the last corner, the final lap, Lando Norris, he has 18 more corners to navigate before he wins his first ever British Grand Prix. He came here as a kid. He watched from the stands. He now has his own grandstands, and he's going to be winning his first race ever at his home circuit in front of his home fans, in front of his own colours and grandstands. And what a performance it has been from him. Of course, a little bit of help from his teammates, but arguably he has helped his teammate in this championship battle as well by gifting him many points, as Oscar Piastri finds himself in P2. It's all his own doing today. Oscar Piastri, the Australian, he will see his championship lead cut from 22 points in 2 races to just 8 points. And well, the championship battle at the halfway point of this season is fully on, guys, with only a couple of races remaining until we head into this summer break. As Lando Norris makes his way through Maggots and Beckett's at the moment, navigated his way through the most difficult section of corners on this track at this moment in time in these conditions, as the track map, unfortunately, in these closing stages is just a little bit behind. But he makes his way down to Stowe Corner, Lando Norris. He makes his way past his own grandstand, his own fans, his home race, as he has a couple of corners remaining, and he is going to win his home Grand Prix for the very first time. He's going to win back-to-back races for the first time ever in his career. It's a 1-2 for McLaren. Lando Norris first, Oscar Piastri third, and well, Nico Hülkenberg is going to score his first ever podium in F1. Nico Hülkenberg, rise at home for Nico Hülkenberg as he scores his first ever podium in F1. Get in there. Come on, Nico Hülkenberg. I've never been so happy to see a driver finish ahead of Lewis Hamilton. 16 positions gained by Nico Hülkenberg. Who needs to start on the front row? Who needs Q3? Because Nico Hülkenberg doesn't. He just needs to start on the last row because he has gained 16 positions and he's up, finishing on the podium. Unbelievable. Lewis Hamilton falls short, finishes P4. Max Verstappen recovers to P5. Pierre Gasly in P6. Lance Stroll loses a couple of positions there at the end to Pierre Gasly and finishes P7. Alonso finishes 8th. Fernando Alonso finishes 9th. Russell finishes 10th. Behrman couldn't sneak that last point position from George Russell there, but he had a very up and down race after starting from 18th place. But Sainz finishes 12th, Ocon finishes 13th, Leclerc finishes 14th, Tsunoda finishes 15th, Antonelli, Hadjar, Bortoleto, Lawson and Colapinto are out of this race. And well, ladies and gentlemen, let's do our driver of the day. Thank you everyone for tuning in, by the way. Hit that subscribe button. Let's get this stream to 51,000 subscribers. But Nico Hülkenberg, oh my goodness. It's, of course, Lando Norris may actually have... We're going to have Nico Hülkenberg in the cool-down room. We're going to have Nico Hülkenberg in the cool-down room. Oh my God. Oh my God. I've never been so pumped. Driver of the day. There's one man. There's one man only. There's one man only. Nico Hülkenberg. That must feel like a win. We thought we would never see it. We thought we would never see it. But Nico Hülkenberg finishes P3. There's only one man who's driver of the day. It's Nico Hülkenberg. There's only one option. Yes, you could give it to Lance Stroll. Yes, you could maybe give it to Lando. I don't think Lando deserves it. Great drive from him, but it's not an amazing drive like it was in Austria last time around, holding off his teammate. But Nico Hülkenberg is a bit shocked. He's a bit muted over the radio. He can't believe what he's just done. He can't believe what he's just done there at Silverstone. He has not only finished third, he's held off Lewis Hamilton at the closing stages of this race. Lewis too far back, a P4 from him, unable to continue that amazing run. It comes to an eventual end of 11 races in a row at Silverstone on the podium. But wow. What? I've never been so buzzing for a driver before. That is brilliant. 4 races in a row, Stake F1. Let's have a look at what that's done to the championship standing, shall we, guys? As we see here, Piastri now, that gap has closed. It is now 8 points, 234 to 226 of Lando Norris. 25 points to 18. 2 races in a row. Lando Norris, for the first time ever, he has won back-to-back races. Kaka, thank you for the 10, by the way. Hülkenberg, history has been made. Unbelievable. Of course, Oscar Piastri, his own downfall today. He was in control of this race until that safety car infringement, and it was the team's right decision to allow those positions to stand, as it wasn't their fault. It wasn't the team's decision. It was purely due to Piastri's negligence there in that moment. Max Verstappen loses more ground on the championship lead there. Of course, good recovery in the end after that spin through Stowe corner under the safety car restart, getting caught out by that safety car infringement of Oscar Piastri. George Russell, 1 point for him in P4. Leclerc, no points, nil points for him as Lewis Hamilton closes down on his teammate in P5 with 12 points at P4. Nico Hülkenberg, 15 points. He jumps up into P9. He jumps up ahead of Esteban Ocon quite comfortably there. And, well, what that has done for Kick Sauber in particular in the constructors' standings is that it has promoted them 3 positions into P6. They are not far behind Williams, and they are nearly the best of the rest. Kick Sauber are nearly the best of the rest. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Ferrari is so terrible to let Hulk get his first podium and even giving up the 1 point scoring position by sabotaging Leclerc even before the race start. Yep, we saw those drivers at the start of this race gamble on the formation at the end of the formation lap on those at the end of the formation lap, ending up doing the slick tyres, and it was just a poor gamble. It was a poor gamble. So yeah, apologies about the map at the end. Thank you, Robin. Apologies for the map at the end. It's outside of my control, unfortunately. I did refresh it, but I don't want to completely close down all the data and everything. I can still obviously commentate and to an extent for those of you who are still obviously listening in audio. But wow. Ooh, happy for Hulk, but super disappointed in Lewis. He was poor today. He was really, that first stint. I mean, do you know what? There was a rumour going around that the Ferrari's tyres were not very good in their race sims when it came to practice. That graphic that Pirelli, so that F1 showed, that I showed you earlier on, of the race pace of the teams, I think was genuinely true. I think, apart from maybe Mercedes, I think the Ferrari was evidently quite off it when it came to race pace. Their single lap pace was good, but the race pace with the tyres was worse, a lot more worse than what people were probably expecting. But yeah, thank you, Alan, much appreciated. And by the way, guys, I can now take it in. Thank you for 50,000 subscribers. That is an unbelievable milestone, and it's halfway to getting that silver plaque, which I want to put here. But massive thank you for you guys for building this community, supporting this channel, and just, giving me the love. I'm looking forward to continuing it. Thank you for all the new subscribers today. I think that's the PB for subscribers, new subscribers today. So big thank you. Of course, we do have a little bit of a break now heading into Spa, but we'll be back. We'll be providing you content in the meantime with some opinionated videos, some further live streams as well. F1 doesn't stop, as we know. The circus, the show goes on, and there'll be still plenty of things to talk about. But of course, I love these watch-alongs. I love these race weekends. I really look forward to them, and you guys have improved, and I like to think I have as well, your viewing experience of F1. I love it, and I wouldn't want it any other way, so thank you guys. On to the next 50, yeah? On to the next 50k now. But wow, let's have a rundown one last time of those. I'll give you guys an update on the cooldown room as well. We're not disappearing anywhere just yet. We're going to take stock of everything that happened at the start of the race, answer your guys' questions as well. There's a lot to take in. But yes, Lando Norris wins his first ever home British Grand Prix in front of his grandstand, of course, at Stowe Corner. What a moment for him. Can I just say, I was right again. I said the winner was going to come from outside the top two. I said the winner was going to come outside of the top two. So yeah, there we go. I was correct. So yeah, thank you guys. Thank you. What else was I going to say? Lando Norris P1, Oscar Piastri P2. Nico's getting chanted as he's being interviewed. A long time coming, he says, Nico Hulkenberg. Nico. They're all shouting at him as he's there. I think this might be the first time ever that someone doesn't win the race but is on the podium that actually may get a louder cheer than the eventual race winner. At their home race, nonetheless, as well. Do you know what, as well? I met at the Missed Apex live event last night. I actually met a Stake F1 fan. He was in their merch. He got a little bit of ridicule. I had a really good conversation with him. And I tell you what, who's laughing now? He most definitely is, because wow, what a race by them. What are they cooking in that car? Honestly, Jonathan Wheatley has gone there, turned that team around, and the strategy decisions by them are unbelievable. The strategy decisions, the timing. Nico Hulkenberg, can I just say this? Nico Hulkenberg, his last two races, he started 20th and 19th. 20th and 19th he started. He's finished 9th and 3rd. In two races. Max Verstappen started on pole position and started 5th. Was it 5th or 6th in Austria? And has come out with less points. Okay, I know Austria he was taken out wasn't his fault. But still, like, there's a number of drivers there that Nico Hulkenberg has and Sauber have completely outperformed on pure merit. Yes, their qualifying has been poor, but the race, what are they doing? Their strategy decisions, their execution of their pit stops and their strategy has been... There's no one better on the grid at the moment. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Is Sauber already better than Mercedes right now? That Sauber has been cooking ever since they got those upgrades. I mean, yes. Yes. I mean, the Mercedes wasn't exactly good in Australia. It was bleeding time there. And here, he's just, like, smashed a Mercedes. So... Sky just said Hulkenberg had a pole in Suzuka 2012. Yeah, he's been on pole position before, Hulkenberg, but he's never ever had a finishing podium. He's never finished on the podium. It's been he's been in the position a couple of times, and some misfortune has always occurred. The last time was Hockenheim, I think it was, when there was that crazy rain race where Max Verstappen eventually won it. I think it was 2018, maybe. That was the last time he had a sniff at a podium, and well. Yeah, this time around, like he's executed it. Unfortunately, there was something in the back of my mind going, something's going to happen here. Something's going to happen. Don't be a safety car. That would have been it, and it would have been under attack from Hamilton at the end, who was on the softs and charging. But wow, well managed, well managed. 238 races without a podium. Come on, Hulk. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Oscar is absolutely pissed off. Rightfully so. Look, I would be pissed off too. He thinks that he didn't have that safety car infringement. But look, he was more than 10, I imagine. I think it was not because of the... Was it because of the unnecessary braking? I don't think so, because it would have been stated as driving erratically. But I think Oscar Piastri got that safety car infringement for being more than 10 car lengths behind the car ahead. That used to be 5. I can't remember the last time that happened. I think Perez got that penalty in Singapore, didn't he? And he lost the race win. So I'm not sure if that's consistent with what we've seen in the past, but even so, like, it was a justifiable penalty in the end, so one way or the other. And he's only got himself to blame. He was too harsh in the way that he braked, really, in the grand scheme of things. Gabriella, thank you for the 11, by the way, much appreciated. Thank you, guys. Oh, what a race. What an absolute race. Can we just say, performance of the rookies, not good. The rookies need to work in the rain, didn't they, in the sim? We lost Antonelli. Antonelli, in fairness, was not his own doing. It was Hadjar's doing. Bortoletto, Lawson. In fairness, actually, I'll take that back. I take that back. Sorry, guys. I'm sorry, rookies. I take that back. Colapinto didn't even start the race. Lawson, that was just a real unfortunate situation. Yuki Tsunoda put him... He's entitled to be there, but Yuki's put himself into a free wide into turn 4. Turn 5, out of turn 4 into turn 5. He's put himself into a free wide. Liam had no idea Yuki was there. He was slightly ahead of Ocon as well. He knew Ocon was there on his inside. He turned in, expecting Ocon to turn in. Couldn't see Yuki. And, well, yeah, Lawson ended up coming out, unfortunately, worse off there with a broken suspension. Hadjar, I'm giving him a lot of, maybe a little bit of inexperience because of the visibility, but he got caught out massively by the visibility. And Antonelli, because of Hadjar's, negligence to an extent because of his moment, eventually retired the car. And Antonelli got screwed over by the strategy as well today by Mercedes. They banked on the wrong strategy today, and I'm surprised they did that, to be honest, and didn't split the strategy. Piastri was lucky to get away with a safety car infringement last time. He had it coming this time. Was it last time he had a safety? When was the last time he had a safety car infringement? When did he get away with it last time? But this one was definitely justified. Oscar slowed down safely. Max being wide, open behind him, and then not braking to try and force a penalty was the issue. Look at the data. Well, look, I haven't looked at the data yet, Wyatt. Initially, I first thought that maybe he braked okay. It may be the case that he has braked okay, but what he has done is that he is undeniably, and I believe that's what he's been penalised for, is he has ended up more than 10 car lengths behind the safety car, which you're not allowed to do. So Hamilton must be pissed at himself. He was making mistake after a mistake while clearly having the car in the pace. Yeah, I mean, he could have maybe caught Hulkenberg at the end there if he didn't have that moment out of the entry of the exit of the pit lane. But what undeniably you see the Ferrari had today is it had worse tyre wear. At the end of their stints, the first stint and the second stint, you saw the pace of the Ferrari really drop off. And that's why, obviously, they had to pit before everyone else kind of ahead of them. So, there we go. Cooldown room. Nico Hulkenberg is in the cooldown room. We have a Stake F1 set of overalls in the form of Nico Hulkenberg, nonetheless, in the cooldown room. Unbelievable. Who would have thought it would have taken this long, eh? Oh. On the first safety car, Oscar was doing it too. Second safety car, felt like stewards ain't going to let him get away with it. I mean, look, I need to see the stewards' rulings. They normally post them. Let's see if they have posted them. Because all they said was safety car infringement. So I don't know. Let's see. Let's see. FIA. Normally they post it. 12 minutes ago. There we go. Safety car procedure. There we go. We can have a read of this. Let's have a look, shall we? He's received 2 penalty points for this, by the way, guys. He's received 2 penalty points. So we can have a read. Let's have a look. So this is the FIA document. And, well, they have stated... And this is the first time I'm seeing this, obviously, with you guys. So let's read this together. And it says, stewards review positioning, marshalling, system data, video, telemetry. When the clerk of the course had declared that the safety car was coming in, car 81 suddenly braked hard, 59.2 psi brake pressure, and reduced speed in the middle of the straight between turn 14 and 15, so the hangar straight, from 218 kilometers an hour to 52, resulted in car 1, Max, having to take evasive action to avoid a collision. This momentarily resulted in car 1 unavoidably overtaking car 81, a position which he gave back immediately. As per the sporting regulations, car 81 is to proceed at a pace which involved no erratic braking nor any other manoeuvre which is likely to endanger other drivers from the point at which the lights on the safety car are turned off. What 81 did was clearly a breach of that article in accordance with the penalty guidelines. We impose a 10-second time penalty. So there we go. The data is there. They've assessed the data and they deemed that what he did was excessively braking when he didn't need to. So that's why he's received that penalty, and that's why Max overtook him. And yes, as you guys said, maybe that is maybe that's why, of course, they saw it the first time and they went, we'll keep an eye on that. And he did it the second time and they went, no, it's not good enough. So in Formula 4, I was braking at 1400 psi peak pressure. 59 is nothing. I don't think that's right. Yeah, but what's undeniable is the pressures aren't really the issue. What's undeniable is the speed. Is the reduction in speed that you can't deny. He's gone from over 200 kph to under 60, just under. So that's significant regardless of the amount of pressure that he's applied. So I don't think the PSI is really worthy of kind of making. I mean, you can. Yeah, I don't think that's really worthy, to be honest, of even putting in there. It's more so the speed. That's undeniable. So. Would Mercedes' strategy work if there was no VSC or safety car? No, I don't think so. Because when you saw... So I remember we're looking at the times and looking at that gap, and they were just losing too much time. So I think there would have been enough time for the leaders to pit and respond to those quick lap times from those on the slicks. It's because... By the time they started to set those laps, obviously they only had like a couple of laps. I think Lance Stroll had literally 3 laps on the softs where he really blitzed it and he did really well. And that was really influential in him moving himself up the grid and then pitting at the right time and onto those intermediates. But yeah, what it was is that they would have had plenty of time, more than a pit stop, to react to those quick sectors from George Russell. So... Not every rookie was bad today. Scott Alonso did good. Not every rookie was bad today. Ollie Behrman, he did well, to be fair. He had his moments. I'm going to end the poll, by the way, because obviously Nico Hulkenberg is pole position. Thank you, Rory. Much appreciated, mate. Catching you up now. Not far behind. Right, let's get your opinions on today's race. What did you think of today's race? Rate the British Grand Prix GP out of 10. And I'm going to put it here. So you can only do, I've only got 4 options, so I'm grouping 1 to 4 together. 5, it's then 5 to 6. Oh, why can't I do that? Hang on. 5 to 6. 7 to 8. And then you've got 9 out of 10. Let me know what you guys think. I think the only answer is a 10. I am going to say a 10, yeah. Yeah, British bias in full swing. I think that was... I need to go back and watch the highlights because I think there's a lot that I even missed with TV coverage. I think what we saw there was kind of a bit of everything in F1. We saw wet weather, which caused carnage. We saw overtakes even in the wet weather conditions. We saw like mistakes from drivers. We saw great pace from the drivers. We saw a brilliant, like, emotional podium. I don't normally get into the emotion side of F1. I've said this before. I try and remove emotion out of it when I'm doing this sort of stuff. I want to see good race and I want to see a good race, but I cannot not like those kind of like those emotions I showed at the end with Nico Hulkenberg getting that podium was like proper, because he is just a driver that fully deserves it. And if anyone's going to finish on the podium ahead of Lewis Hamilton, that's who I would be gunning for, and of course that's what happened. And yeah, Norris, of course, the championship is still on as well. The gap has closed. I think it was a great race. So, but it depends. So I think the reason that I may even mark it down, as Mudit has said there, is that McLaren's maybe just a bit too fast, so that there wasn't an outright battle for the race win. However, you could arguably say, are they Lego trophies? Oh my goodness, they're Lego trophies. That's wild. That's a Lego trophy. That's a Lego trophy of the gold trophy. I can't remember what the name of the trophy is that they get given for P1. Wow, that's weird. I was going to say, what else was I going to say? There was something else I was going. What, my train of thought's gone. There wasn't a battle for first. However, what I do think is that we saw Lando significantly catching Piastri. I think if Piastri didn't have that 10-second time penalty, I think we would have seen a battle for the win. So really, the 10-second time penalty got in the way of a battle for the race win in the end there, because Piastri was losing time to Lando. Lando definitely had the better. Who knows? I mean, look, I'm looking at the data there, but it could be that Piastri was just kind of, maybe he was playing tricks with Norris, trying to back him up. I don't know. But I think there potentially could have been a battle for the lead and for that race win between the two McLarens if there wasn't that 10-second time penalty. So, can I show the championship standings again? Of course I can. There you go. McLaren have the constructors wrapped up, by the way. They've got 238 points ahead of Ferrari now, if my maths is correct there. So, McLaren ignored Nico on the podium. Oh yeah, they're just taking pictures together. Yeah, looks like the Lego trophy is about to break. Yeah, I mean, look, Nico's got his first podium, and he's not even given a proper trophy. I mean, how rude? How rude is that? Give the man a proper trophy that he can take home. You know, Lando's trophy is actually broken. It's bent. His trophy's actually bent. It's lopsided. So, is that a baby in the background? Yes, it is. Yes, it's my daughter. She's in her higher chair, just been fed. She's very happy right now. Hi. He was staring at it for a bit. Hulkenberg was, yeah. Hamilton transitioned to Ferrari from Merc, actually better than getting credit for. Signs to Williams harder than predicted. Yeah, agree. I mean, considering Williams had a very good car at the start of this season, obviously very different circumstances now. Actually, where did they finish? Alex Albon finished. Way, Alex Albon, by the way, guys. Alex Albon has actually just finished his first race in 5 races. The last 4 race weekends, he's failed to finish. He said his aim this weekend was just to finish. He's done so, and he's done it in the points as well. And actually, if you look at it, it's pretty damning, the points gap between Albon and Sainz at the moment. Albon, 46 points compared to Sainz's 13. So, yeah. Williams will concentrate on 2026. Yeah, I know, Carlos, I know. But it's still, Sainz didn't capitalise on when that car was good. Obviously, I still think there's a transition period, just exactly like what Lewis Hamilton's gone through with Ferrari. But clearly, Sainz has been struggling a bit more than I think I and anyone has expected him to do so. Hey, Gamer, thank you, buddy. Co-commentator on a podium. Yeah, she is indeed, yeah. Nico's daughter would love that Lego trophy, so don't worry about it. That's true. But I can't imagine with a toddler that trophy is going to stay intact for very long, especially with it being Lego. I'm sure they've probably got normal trophies behind the scenes, but I'd be a bit miffed if I was Hulkenberg. It's like, I've waited 2 decades to get my first podium and my first trophy, and you give me toys. You give me literally kids' toys for my trophy. Disrespectful. Disrespectful. Yeah, it's the... That's brilliant. The missus just went, it's the leftovers from Miami. It's what they collected off of the Lego race that they did in Miami. Thank you, Stuart. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, as always, guys, it's really great to see that how far-ranging that these streams have gone. So big thank you to everyone tuning in from wherever you are in the world. Big thank you, and of course, big thank you for all the subscribers that we had today. It'd be brilliant if we could top it off with 40 more subscribers and get to 51,000. That'd be amazing. So yeah, brilliant. It's a big medal. Yeah, it is a big medal, but a trophy's better. Trophies are always better than medals, you know. So you swear, had Ferrari chosen mediums, it would have been a double points finish. I don't... Maybe. I think, look, the key here is that why did Ferrari feel the need to gamble with Charles Leclerc at the end of the formation lap? Now, I don't know. Was it Charles Leclerc's decision to pit at the end of the formation lap? Did he take that upon himself? Or was it Ferrari's decision to do so? I kind of think it's I think it's probably Leclerc's decision to do it. But I need to dig a bit more into that one and find out exactly what occurred there. Especially Mercedes. Mercedes is the baffling one for me. Mercedes ended up not just pitting George for the onto slicks, but they decided to put all their eggs in one basket and also do it with Antonelli as well. Whereas I think, okay, if George has taken that upon himself to do that decision, which he probably has at the end of the formation lap, because he's the driver out there, he can feel. This is why I think it was probably the drivers' decisions. They could feel what the track was like on that formation lap, and I don't know why you wouldn't just keep Antonelli out there on the safer option, split your strategies and keep him on the intermediates. Instead, they brought him in a lap later to come onto the hards, and it just completely backfired on them because you're then putting all those eggs into one basket. It's all or nothing, and clearly it didn't pay off, and George only finished P10 in the end. So what do I say about Max's recklessness luck recently? I don't think he's had... So the only recklessness he's had was that moment in Spain. We know what led up to that moment, and we know obviously he can be hot-headed, and obviously that came to the forefront there. I think here, they let's put it this way. Red Bull made the right decision here this weekend by choosing the setup that they did. They were in no man's land on the Friday. They were on the back foot. If they stuck with the same configuration, the same setup of that car from Friday to qualifying on Saturday, he would have struggled to qualify in the top 5. I'm pretty confident about that. So for them to gamble to an extent, I say gamble, like pick a setup that they knew would be risky, that it might not work if the rain arrives on Sunday, but you can never really like, especially with British weather, you can never really truly trust the weather reports. It was the right decision for them to go for a setup that in dry conditions, which qualifying was going to be, and it was, to get track position. And then you deal with whatever comes next, you know? And Max, for the most part, I think he would have finished P3 today if he didn't spin at turn 15. I think Max still had enough in that car to hold off the Ferraris. Because you could see Lewis was struggling at the end of that first stint. He fell off the back of Max Verstappen and the McLarens. And I think Max, if he didn't have that spin with the safety car, I think he probably would have secured a podium today. I think he still would have had enough in those dry, wet conditions to hold off Lewis Hamilton. And at least, obviously, like Stroll and Hulkenberg. even with that lower downforce setup. And then when the dry conditions arrived, I think he would have been in a suitable position to just completely drive off, not have maybe the pace of the McLarens because they would have been too far ahead anyway because of the advantage they got in the wet. And then he would have comfortably finished third, but that's not obviously the way it went. And then as we saw again today from him, what we saw is those frustrations come to the boil. He spun. He's complaining about the car. When the car is actually okay, he can deal with it, but he's now fighting for P10, P9. Not where he wants to be. He's not fighting for the win. He's not fighting for a podium. Very, very different mindset. Very, very different approach behind the cockpit when that has happened. So, yeah, that's really my assessment of Max's weekend. It was a risk worth taking. It paid off in qualifying. It would have paid off if not for that spin. Maybe those shenanigans from Piastri caused Max to have maybe some cold tyres because he had to brake so suddenly as well, massively slow down because he was afraid of the safety car infringement himself because he went past him, and then he spun obviously out the exit of Stowe. I think that had an overall factor there. So yeah. Exactly, Sayun. That's what I think. Yeah, he lost temperature in his tyres, which caused the slip, which caused the spin, and then everything went from there. But I think Max had easily potential to score a podium today. I don't think you wouldn't have seen, even with the pace Hamilton had at the end of the race there. Hamilton's closing down on a stake F1. He's not closing down on a Red Bull of Max in clean air, you know. So Max did well enough considering the downforce. Exactly, yeah. Exactly, and he showcased why he's very good. He showcased why he's still super, super good and why he's got such a reputation in the wet. So, hang on. Oscar Piastri's radio at the end. Not happy from Oscar Piastri, of course. Not happy. Daisy, you watch the Channel 4 coverage on mute and thoroughly enjoy my commentary. Thank you. I always say that's the biggest compliment you guys give me. The biggest compliment you guys give me is that you choose to watch the live coverage but choose my commentary. So big, big thank you as always. Max, please leave Red Bull. Lance Stroll will be disappointed. Yeah, Lance Stroll was on course for a good result today. He was on course. It was looking like he might get a podium at one point. But how influential was it for Nico Hulkenberg? We said, didn't we, when he was fighting Stroll with Hamilton bearing down on them, we was like, he needs that clean air. And he was able to do it when it mattered. And it was so influential in Hulkenberg securing that podium today. So you don't lose tyre temp being brake checked. He just didn't have any tyre temp, period. He already said many laps prior that his inters were dead. Yeah, but those at the point of that safety car, they weren't particularly old, were they? But yes, I mean, overall, when you're under a safety car, you're going to be struggling with tyre temp. But no, but these tyres, you'd be surprised how quickly the temp will fall off these tyres if you aren't moving. Max literally came to a standstill with how slow Oscar Piastri went. And that is a considerable amount of a tyre temp loss that he would have got from heading down to turn 15 where he needs that. And you saw it. It was as soon as he got on throttle on the exit of Stowe that he went round. So thank you, guys. Yeah, look, I try and be as informative as possible when it comes to commentary and try and keep you guys. What I like to try and do is try and give you guys an overall picture of the race. I feel that's what really a lot of the live TV coverage doesn't do. They don't give you an overall picture of the race. I know you guys watching, yes, we're all invested in the race lead, but there's still drivers that you guys support, that you want to do well. There's still many stories and battles happening up and down the grid on track, rivalries and so forth, that maybe the TV coverage and the TV commentary doesn't always cover very well. And that's what I was trying to do. That normally, very rarely, is there not something happening out on track that is worthy of talking about, you know, and informing you guys of. So Max's tendency at Red Bull getting closer and closer to being terminated. Watch this space. Yeah, look, that result again is not really going to help him. I think when he looks at it though, I mean, we don't know what this race would have been like if it was clean, if it was dry. We don't know. Max would have been difficult to overtake. I mean, ultimately, that's only the second race of this season where the lead car into the first corner hasn't won the race. So what we saw today is not the norm. And Norris started on the second row. It would have been Piastri who won this race if it wasn't. Well, I say, would he have won it the race? I don't know. It all with some buts, but he obviously was in the lead. Lando was closing down on him quite significantly. I don't know if Piastri is maybe trying to back him off, play a bit of games or something, trying to maybe give his teammate more dirty air. Maybe he makes a mistake and then he takes a 10-second penalty. And then it's closer for him when he does take that 10-second penalty. I mean, I would try and do that, to be honest, as long as it's not obviously dodgy and untoward. But yeah, I think that's what Piastri maybe tried to do. But yeah, I mean, what we saw today, we don't know in a dry condition. It would have been interesting to see how this race would have played out if it was dry. Would the McLarens have been able to have got past Max? How would the strategy would have been very, very different than what we saw today. Of course, it was heavily influenced by the rain. So yeah, a bit of a shame that we didn't get to see that, but I'm also not disappointed that we didn't see that, because we had a chaotic race to start off with, a typical British GP. And look, when you have races like this and you have those chaotic moments, it's very easy to panic. It's very easy to make those pit stops. I think someone like Mercedes did panic, took those first laps as an example, pitted on the first lap, then pitted multiple times with Kimi Antonelli. Like, I didn't know what they were doing, to be honest. The strategy team at Mercedes, it seemed, they got themselves into a right pickle. Whereas the likes of Red Bull, the likes of McLaren, they could have responded to any of those maybe on the slicks and so forth, or even those behind pitting at the right time on the inters and onto a new set of inters with the rain incoming, and they didn't. They held station and they managed the race very well. So Max has either been unlucky or a lot of instances this season, or has been effed up by his team. It's the hard tyre, Max, or his own mistakes sometimes, which is pretty rare. Yeah, no, I don't disagree. Look, Max has maximised, pun intended, that car this year. 100%. He's massively outperformed it, and the fact of it he was able to stay in the championship, I guess, kind of for as long as he has done, is a credit to him. He's still mathematically not out of it, of course, because there's still many races to go, but the state of that car compared to the state of the McLaren, which is just all-round the best balanced car, it performs well in any track, any conditions, is going to be super difficult to beat. Ultimately, the championship is like out of your control now, which is what no driver wants. They want it to be in their control, and that's what Lando's done with his battle with Piastri. He's kept it within his control, and that's why consistency, we know, is going to be key this season. And I think today we saw the first true mistake of the season the second mistake of Oscar Piastri's season thus far. The first mistake, of course, was the first race where he lost control of the car in those conditions, and today's the second one that's cost him. So few and far between mistakes come to Oscar Piastri, but today was a costly one for him, and it's allowed Norris to significantly close that championship lead now. So look at Russell now. Last year he was going to be the number one driver for Mercedes. Look at him now. Didn't even get a contract. How the tables are turned. Yeah, that's why I say never in F1. You never know. So I'm sure that they commentate off the TV coverage and don't even keep an eye on the live map at all. I mean, they have to cover. The thing is, Daisy, yeah, the TV commentary, they have to commentate on the pictures ahead of them. They don't very rarely go off script and commentate on stuff that is down the grid. Now, the problem for a lot of the TV commentary is that they're commentating on a world feed. They're not in control of the images that you see. So it's not like they can pinpoint, here's a race, here's a close battle further down the midfield that's more worthy of watching at the moment than it is watching two McLarens plod around at the front, you know. They can't lead the TV direction in that way because they're not in control of it, so they can only commentate on what's happening in front of them, really. So they're limited, whereas we're not. So we do have that advantage over them in that sense. Just saw from McLaren, just saw more McLaren should fight that penalty, but won't because of Lando winning. I disagree, Lily. I know you're an Oscar fan. I know you'll back your boy. I don't think Oscar really has anything to fight back on that. He did it. He went significantly from 250 kilometers down. I mean, the data doesn't lie. He went from 250 down to 60 to below 60. That's two in those. And I also think as well, I think maybe what they also frown upon is those conditions it was in. It's the conditions they were also in. It wasn't like it was dry conditions where the visibility was clear and you could see the drivers. You would be able to see the drivers ahead slowing up. I think they're also taking the health and safety of that into account as well. While they haven't made mention of it, it wouldn't surprise me if that's also in the back of their mind. But yeah, look, he rarely makes mistakes, Oscar. He rarely makes mistakes, but just watching, hang on. I think if you look at most people online, not that I obviously pay too much attention to what opinions are online. Many kind of people that I know are saying that's obviously not acceptable as well. So, who have more racing experience than me. Oscar is permanently in the learning mode. We'll take this in his stride. This is his year for sure. Yeah, I don't think he'll do anything again like that, for sure. I don't think he'll do anything like that again. But, yeah. Hulkenberg scored point, but where is Bortoletto? Bortoletto went out, unfortunately. Yeah, he crashed when he went onto those slicks initially. So, we've only an 8-point gap between Oscar and Lando. It's going to make the next few races more interesting between the two McLarens. I agree. Look, I've said this before. I don't really have a horse in the race. I probably lean a bit more to Norris. I won't lie. And it's not British bias. I feel like, and I've said it before here on stream, I do feel like Lando gets a considerable amount of unnecessary hate, and it's more so for those accounts and people that I see who completely bash the guy. And this is nothing to do with Piastri, because I do like Piastri. I would love to see those people put in their place if Lando wins. That's kind of like the reasoning behind my kind of leaning a little bit more towards Lando. But ultimately, I'd like to see either of them win. I think it's good for F1 if either of them win, regardless of what your opinions are of the two. And I want to see this championship go, in an ideal world, I want this championship go to the last race, where whoever wins the last race wins the championship. So for there to be less than 7 points separating them in the last race, that would be perfect. Because then it's like, okay, it's all come down to this last race. You're not quite level on points, but it is all on who is the fastest driver. Who is going to win the last race? The last winner takes all, basically, in the last race. That's just my approach, my thinking to things. So, empty win for Lando? No, I don't think it's an empty win for Lando. Wish Brazil was the last race. I agree, Tyler. Brazil should always be the last race. It has never failed at being the last. It's never not delivered being the last race of the season. I did a video on this, actually. I looked back at all the races that Interlagos has been the last race of the season, and every single one of them has been a banger. Abu Dhabi, which race has been a banger? Let's be honest. Even 2021, yeah, the last lap, it was eventful, but the race up until that last lap was boring. Every other race has been boring at Abu Dhabi. There's never been an absolute brilliant Abu Dhabi race, in my opinion. So, thank you, Monique. Good to see you again. Jazz, you don't think Norris will win the championship unless he stops making silly mistakes? Well, you say Piastri's calmer. Piastri just made a silly mistake there. They're both capable of making silly mistakes. And what Lando did today is the first thing he has done ever in his F1 career. He's won back-to-back races. He's never done that before. Oscar Piastri he's won 3 races in a row this year. Lando never done that. And he's done it. And he'll take a lot of confidence from that. So that's what you need to be able to fight a driver who is more consistent, arguably more consistent than you in Piastri. But then today we saw Piastri make arguably a catastrophic error on his part that has cost him the race win today and cost him gaining those 7 points back on Lando Norris and regaining that 22-point lead. So he has only himself to blame, which is why the team said we're not switching positions. We're holding position. There's not going to be a re-switching of positions because, look, mate, it's your fault. So, Abu Dhabi is a terrible last track. Brazil should be written into law as a last track. I agree, but unfortunately, money rules F1. So, at least Vegas has been good since it came on, but Abu Dhabi is awful. Totally agree as well. I've been pleasantly surprised about Vegas. I'll admit when I'm wrong. I was very pessimistic about Vegas. And it's provided us good races. So, if you're not making small mistakes in F1, you're not really pushing. No, exactly. But then there's also the element of knowing when to push and when not to push. And Lando has undeniably made some catastrophic mistakes this season, which is why he saw a 20-point lead at the start of the season can dissipate and turn around into a 20-point loss or chase that he's got. And now he's reduced that down to 8 points. So, Didn't Lewis win his first title with Brazil? He did indeed. Yes, Brazil, Interlagos was the last race in 2008. So, yeah. Is that truly? Is that truly? I think it was truly, wasn't it? Can I check your previous comment, Dusko? What'd you say? Are you coming up with more conspiracy stuff? Do we have a Senna Prost era at McLaren? Will Max have a sabbatical year? Will Norris or Piastri go to Red Bull or Mercedes? No team can last in the long run having two guys killing each other. I think you'll see... I think you may see over time, you may see Piastri and Norris's relationship break down the longer they're able to fight for championships. Nothing's a given in 26, of course. But I think, yeah, the niceties will disappear if they are consistently fighting for world championships. I don't see how it can't. Max, I don't think he's taken a sabbatical. We actually came out with, the first time in a long time, actually, he came out and reassured everyone on Friday or Thursday that he plans on being in F1 for a long time to come. He would like to, though, find time to compete in other racing series, of course, as he loves his endurance racing. So, yeah, that's the first time in a long time we've heard him say something like that, because people have always said that he's been bored of F1 and doesn't enjoy it. But yeah, he very much so. And this is before he qualified on pole position as well. So Glock. Is it Glock? Is it Glock? In my best Martin Brundle impression. Where is the regs? Does it say once the safety light goes off, the lead driver cannot brake to back up the field? That's the ruling. So it's not that particularly. So it says here, Article 55.51, 15 of the FIA Sporting Regs, required the car, 81, to proceed at a pace which involved no erratic braking, nor any other manoeuvre which is likely to endanger other drivers from the point at which the lights of the safety car turn off. So what they deem there is that basically he's braked erratically. Regardless of the brake pressure, the speed in which he decreased his car after the safety lights went off. Also, probably that taken into consideration is the environment as well, as in like the wet track, the lack of visibility. He has braked in a manner that is driving erratically and endangered his competitors. So that's why that has been deemed as breaching that regulation there. So yeah, if it was dry conditions and there was no spray, would that have been acceptable? I don't know, maybe. I still think it would have been a very harsh braking, but Max would have been able to have seen the car ahead brake for sure. But with those conditions, the manner in which he braked and how quickly he decreased his speed was what they deemed to be, obviously, unacceptable. So, hence a 10-second time penalty. If Verstappen leaves Red Bull, he will go to Aston Martin to join Newey and Honda. That is one of the theories, Raz. Would they drop Fernando Alonso for Max Verstappen? Probably. I know Alonso's on a lot of money as well, though. So, yeah, don't rule out. Obviously, everyone's talking about Mercedes. Imagine that curveball. Yeah, goes to Aston Martin and Alonso goes. So. What else is occurring here? Sorry. Sorry, guys, just catching up with your comments. In no frigging way is Max going to Aston Martin. Never say never. Never say never. People would say he'd never leave Red Bull. He's still at Red Bull. I still think, personally, he's not going anywhere. I think he's staying there till the end of 2026, but never say never. I hope Lewis gets a podium in Belgium because the race he drove today disappointed me heavily. Yes, I know the car was snappy, but come on, you should have pitted for mediums and not messed up the last pit. I don't know. I'm not sure if mediums were the correct choice. I think Lewis had considerably I think he had the pace in the last stint on those softs. I think he definitely had the pace to catch Hülkenberg. His issue is that, unfortunately, when he came out the pit lane, it was wet out the pit lane, and he just locked up. Went in. It's very, very easy to do, even for a man of Lewis Hamilton's experience, to run on like he did through turn 3, and he lost so much time rejoining the track. But he had the pace in those softs, and they did last at the closing stages of that race. If he didn't do that, he probably would have caught Hülkenberg. To be honest with you, I don't think the mediums would have provided him any more pace. The softs didn't fall off from what I saw from the lap times. So. How are people mad about that Lewis drive? I mean, look, Lewis's race there really I mean, it was a really odd race, to be honest with you. The first stint wasn't great. His tyres fell off a cliff, by the looks of it, on the intermediates. He then pitted, came out, made up some ground, lost time again at the end of his stint, as he really started to fall off Nico Hülkenberg, and then he ended up going onto those softs and obviously he looked good. The pace was good on the softs, but as we mentioned, yeah, because of that moment, he was unable to really close up. Leclerc had a terrible race. But unfortunately, Oscar Piastri is stating his frustrations. As Piastri is saying, I did what I did at the first restart, and I don't see how that was an issue then, and not an issue then, and is an issue now. We'll see. Well, maybe they've got the data, of course. We will see. Well, we won't be able to see right now, but there will be data to showcase what he actually did on that first restart. But did, as I mentioned, catch Max Verstappen out, but not as much as it did on the second one. So that's because the home expectations are too high for Lewis standard in Ferrari. Yeah, to an extent. Yeah, I think. Look, the thing is with Lewis in that Ferrari, they're still not a car that can compete with the McLarens. Full stop. Yes, they had potential pole position yesterday, I think. Maybe not in the end because of what Max was able to achieve. But overall, while it's made strides forward, that car is not capable of going toe-to-toe with the McLarens. They need some serious luck. Even, I thought maybe in the wet conditions, yeah, it might be a bit of a nullifier for Ferrari and they might be okay. But their tyres, even then, they struggled. So he did the same thing twice. Yeah, no, I know he did the same thing twice, but the first time was probably borderline. The second time was a lot worse, evidently. So, and sometimes as well, you do something the first time and you go, okay, that's borderline. Like, sometimes you do go, it's like with referee, and you go, okay, he's done that once. If he does something like that again, then that's going to be like a yellow card, a red card, you know. And I think that's maybe what Oscar did. However, his first time he did it under the safety car didn't look to be as severe as what the second time was. So clearly the second time was worse than the first time. So yeah. He didn't get black and white flagged. No, he didn't get black and white flagged. No, probably because it was borderline, as I said. It was probably like one of those where you go, okay, that's we're not going to give him a necessary black and white flag for it, but that was borderline. He's just got away with that one there. And then the second one is like, nah, that's too much of a decrease. When conditions worse, the second safety car restart, I don't know. I'll have to go back and look at that, but thank you, Jarvis. Much appreciated. It's so weird when no one told him that it was dangerous. No indication whatsoever. I mean, he knows it himself. He's done plenty safety car restarts, Oscar. You know what, actually? Now I think about it, Oscar did this in Spain. This isn't the first time he's done it. If you notice in Spain, if you watch the rear, that there's an image of the race restart from Oscar's rear wing, and he does this. He significantly brakes when the safety car turns off its lights and he's backing up the pack. He really brakes. Lando nearly went into the back of him in Spain as well on the safety car restart. So this is probably something that he's been on the edge of for quite some time, and he is now in wet conditions where, of course, safety is of the paramount. He is obviously received the penalty and it's too much. So Spain was dry. In dry, it's not even remotely close. But it's still the case of that this is a tactic that he implements, and today he's been caught out overdoing it. So no worries, Taco. Thank you for modding the stream. I hope the stream today, thank you, mods, by the way. I hope the stream and the chat was a civil place to be, as always. We, of course, are growing this channel. It's absolutely brilliant, the amount of viewership that we are getting. But, of course, I understand. But with that comes sometimes some unsavoury comments and individuals that come into the chat and spoil things. That's what we have the mods here for. That is not what Nightbot is here for, to try and keep chat as civil a place as possible, because ultimately I don't care who you support. I want everyone to enjoy the streams and enjoy F1 and enjoy our passion, and yeah, that's obviously what I'm hoping for and trying to build here, guys. So Hulk is proof that you can't decide a driver's worth by their stats alone. Without considering the car, for me, he's one of the best drivers. I don't think he's one of the best drivers. I do think he is a driver who does definitely deserve to be on the grid. And look, there's many drivers in their time who have been very good, who maybe could have done more if they were given the better machinery. But yeah, Hulkenberg, you cannot deny that he deserves it. The form that he's been on, how close he's been on numerous occasions as well. Look, sports, you don't always get what you deserve. There are plenty of golfers, as an example, who have never won majors. There's plenty of footballers, brilliant footballers who have never won trophies. And people believe that they should have won a lot more. But there's no given right for anyone to get what their talent potentially can provide them. But Hulkenberg is someone who has been around for so long. He's put in so many good performances, and that is just brilliant. I think it's so impressive as well. He did it from 19th. It's not like he qualified top 10 and Nico Hulkenberg had his best qualifying of the season and he qualified P6 or P7. No, he qualified terribly. And then he ended up bloody finishing 16 places up in the P3. Unreal. Thanks, Aaron. Much appreciated, mate. I appreciate the offer. Yeah, I think I might hire a few new mods, guys, by the way. Just obviously because the streams are getting bigger. We're averaging every time now around over 15,000 viewers. So, yeah, with that comes obviously a lot of chats and so forth. It is on subscriber-only mode. So obviously there's the incentive to subscribe and support the channel. But doesn't always, of course, mean that everyone's civil. So it's okay to have disagreements. But not when it obviously goes too far. Oscar, George, and Max all play games on the restart. He got burned this time. Yeah, no, they all do play games on the restart. I do think from memory, though, in relation to safety car restarts, and I'm only just thinking, I mean, maybe it is just like recency bias, but I'm trying to think of others. I mean, yeah, I mean, Oscar's, I need to see his other safety car restarts as well, actually. Might do some research now and see how Oscar's safety car restarts have been. Is this a tactic he implements all the time? He's definitely done it twice here. He definitely did it in Spain. But yeah, it'd be interested to see if he has kind of a history of this, of kind of dramatically braking when the safety car, when he's prepping for that safety car restart. How do I remember that far back? I used to remember all the races of the seasons. Now can't even remember what happened 2 races ago. Good memory. I don't know where I get it from, to be honest with you. CR7 deserves, but he hasn't won a World Cup yet. But that said, Portugal was never strong. Exactly. So sometimes you don't get necessarily what you deserve in sport. That's the way it goes. Next time safety car light goes off, be right on the safety car's bumper until it pulls off the track then. To an extent, yeah. I mean, look, the rule is in place that you are not to be more than 10 car lengths behind the safety car, if you're the lead car, or more than 10 car lengths behind the car in front. And the stewards have got the data available in relation to whether the car behind is the one playing games, they speed up and then slow down and say the car ahead, like, oh, put his brakes on. But if the car ahead is going 100 kilometers an hour and then slows to 80, that's not catching the car out behind. That's the car behind going too fast and being silly. So they have all the data available for this. And yeah, evidently today, Piastri just obviously got caught doing it too much. So 2025 is the year of unprecedented victories. Harry Kane, PSG, UEFA Champions League, Tottenham, Chelsea, Crystal Palace, Newcastle, and now Hulkenberg. True, I'm taking P3 for Hulkenberg as an actual good one, so as a victory. So it was unnecessary from Oscar. Max never had the car to overtake him on this restart. He would have pulled away in the final 3 corners, but then again, that event gave us Hulk P3, so I'll take it. Exactly. Silverstone 2008 was wetter than that. The problem is the ground effect, why the safety car was needed. Yes, well, yeah, look, the safety car now, unfortunately, not a safety car now. The reason why we see that, yes, is because of the ground effect era, David. That the amount of spray that is given off now on the largest, heaviest F1 cars in history, there's more spray than there's ever been, and it doesn't help as well that the majority of the downforce is created from the underside of the car. So there's always going to be more spray. So do I ever watch IndyCar races? No, I never really get around to it, Ben. I catch the highlights every now and then, but yeah, I'm not really that much into it. So, but there we go, guys. that is it from me. That is it from me. What a stream. What a race. I hyped it up, and thank God it lived up to the hype. Yeah, what a stream. 50,000 subscribers we hit. We're nearly at 51,000. Surely there's 10 more of you that haven't hit the subscribe button yet. Go on. There's surely 10 more. There's surely 10 more. I'm not going until we hit 51. But yeah, wow. What a... The missus is going, please, I need him. I need his help with little one. But yeah, no, what an unbelievable race. It was a tricky one to call. There was so much that was happening in the first 15 laps of that race. I hope it was obviously all understandable for you. I am on the Missed Apex podcast this evening, guys. So let me see if he has set up the stream, because I will send all of you guys over there. Surely he set up the stream. Surely. We will see. We are on it tonight. I don't think he has. He hasn't set it up yet. Unbelievable. I would redirect you all there. But yeah, well, I'm on the Missed Apex podcast tonight. There's a lot that I need to take in from what happened. Of course, the strategy decisions, when decisions were made, driver feedback and stuff. So I'm going to go listen to that, research that while I go and yeah, have some well-needed rest and dinner. And we'll be back on hopefully this week. I'll be back on this week with some more content, some sim racing as well. Yeah, there's more coming your way, that's for sure. It's not just tonight. And, well, we head to... Where do we head to next time around? I think it's Spa, isn't it? Is it then the Hungaroring and then Zandvoort? I think that's the order of proceedings in the next few weeks. So, let's have a look. F1, schedule and results. Schedule. So we head to Spa in a couple of weeks' time, the 25th of July. Well, not just a couple of weeks' time. That's that's 3 weeks away. Oh my God, we got like a 3-week break, 2-week break. What am I going to do with myself? I am actually at Goodwood Festival of Speed next Sunday, guys. So if you are there next Sunday, Goodwood Festival of Speed, and you see me, let me know. Let me know. Hungary, we then have, so we have back-to-back races for Belgium and Hungary. Hungary has a new facility there, by the way. They've completely redeveloped the whole grandstand, so a brand new look. The racetrack, as I think, has remained the same, though. And then we have the summer break. We've pretty much got all of August off, where we then head to Zandvoort, the Netherlands. We have Zandvoort and Monza as kind of back-to-back races there. So, yes. So, who's going to lead into the summer break, eh? Who's going to lead into the summer break? Baby is saying no 51k for now. I know. Four more. Go on, guys. You can do it. You can do it. You've been absolutely tremendous today. After safety car conditions end, do you think the gap between cars should be reinstated so all the work done by the drivers isn't for nothing? I can see the argument for it. However, I think the way the safety... I don't know. Because the safety car... It spices things up. You can't deny it. You can't deny it. It's always been kind of part of F1. It's also it is also a tactic as well to ensure that if you're out up front, you manage your tyres in a manner that you are prepared for that scenario on a race restart. So I don't know. I think leave it as it is. Don't think there's any need to change it. It's not necessarily always the fairest one, but it'd probably be more difficult to try and to ensure that everyone's at the same gaps again than it would be at the moment. I think it's also simplicity as well for ease. So, Missed Apex is too biased for your liking. Well, we are kind of a bit open with our biases, of course. But I love it. I love doing the Missed Apex. Stuffeyy, Aram, you've asked, was the Oscar penalty given because it was rainy because Russell didn't get the penalty? I think it is an influence for sure. I think they have seen that the manner in which he braked and how he reduced his speed so significantly in a short period of time, I think that has definitely played into the fact of it was wet and there was a lot of spray. Max couldn't see Oscar, and we'd already had a safety car because of Isaac Hadjar in the spray going into Kimi Antonelli. So yeah, way 51,000. Thank you guys, much appreciated. What a day! What an absolute day! You guys are brilliant, absolutely brilliant. 49k to that 100k plaque now. It's going to go there. I've got a position for it right there. So Safety first. It's always been the priority. Yeah, exactly. And they don't like it. I mean, Oscar may see... I mean, I would like to see, and I'm sure someone will dig up on the detail, someone will look, and I may even be able to go actually and have a look on the replay here and see the data of Oscar, go onto the replay on that safety car where Max did overtake him. And I think, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do that quite now. Hang on. See if I can find that. And you will probably be able to see, actually, if... the inputs and see his speed, what it reduced from in the first instance, because he's not happy about it, of course. He wasn't happy about it. Let me have a look here. So let's go to the second safety car. See if I can find it. So this is the, what lap was this? 16. Where is that safety car restart? There we go. Safety car restart there. Just trying to find it. Right, hang on. Let me just show you this, guys. This is what I was doing. So Oscar Piastri, safety car here. This is the safety car restart. If we just go back a little bit. I said... So if we see up here, he's 100, so you can see his speed. Max did go past him. I think this is where the safety car restarts. So he did the same thing there. Hang on, where did he go? Where did he go from? Where did he go from? Is it going to go back or not? What did he go from? Right, here we go. Keep an eye out on it. What does he go? Why is it fast? He went from 186 to... Okay, so he did the same thing, but he wasn't as high a speed. He went from 186 to around 58, 55. So that's not as significant as 216 to 59. So that's why he didn't get penalised for the first one, because he was going considerably quicker the second safety car restart, as they stated. So there we go. That's the data. That's why Oscar's penalty for the second time around was justified and the first one wasn't. So there we go. 224 kilometers to 52 in those conditions is crazy. Yeah, that's significantly... He was going 40, 50 kilometers more than what he was on that first safety car restart. So, but there we go. There we go. That is it. That is it. I am done. That is me done. Thank to the missus, Delight as well. But big thank you, guys. Yes, 51,000 subscribers. Unbelievable. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, couldn't do it without you all, of course. If you didn't enjoy these, I wouldn't be doing them. So yeah, have a lovely one. We'll see you for the Mr. Apex podcast. We'll see you in the week. And of course, we will see you next time around in a couple of weeks' time at Spa. But yes, the show goes on with F1. There's still a lot going on, and I imagine silly season is still in full swing. Who knows what's going to happen, of course, with Max and George. But I'll only kind of comment on that when there's more information. But yeah, have a lovely rest of your Sunday, guys. Now take time to breathe after a chaotic British Grand Prix, and we'll see you soon. Bye.